All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another live stream. Could be, possibly, maybe. Let's see. It is Sunday night. Definitely want to do a live stream with you guys tonight. We didn't get to do one last Sunday because that was Christmas Day. Now we're on New Year's Day, so Happy New Year. To everybody out there, big time Happy New Year to you guys. What's up, San Andreas? How you doing, man? We got Guts, the Black Swordsman. What's up, dude? Happy New Year. Just let me know if you dudes can hear me okay, and I'll just set the stuff for the stream for what we got to talk about for this one, which I think is going to be fun. It should be a good one for us to go through, and the topic for tonight is going to be success, mostly for men, because I think it's kind of different with respect to what what makes success for men, what makes men successful, and what makes women successful. I think it's important to separate the two up as two different kind of two different things, two different categories. What you want to get out of life for both are sort of different. So we'll kind of focus down, I think, for men during the Great Reset. So that is the time period that we're living in right now from about 2020, let's say, this decade. So 2020 until 2030, what does real masculinity or real success look like? And this kind of comes after some of the videos that I've been doing this week and kind of some of the different things that have been happening in the world. I want to kind of target with this one sort of like, especially the younger guys that are kind of coming up that, maybe have some ambition or want to strive or want to reach a bit and see what they can do in terms of their careers. And what are some good things you can do as a guy during the Great Reset? In other words, how can you get ahead during the Great Reset, which is going to be, starting 2020, which we're a couple years in now. We're into 2023 now, so we've gone through 2020, 2021, 2022. So we're 3 years into this decade, into this time period, going up to the year 2030. If you think about like Agenda 2030, the different SDGs or sustainable development goals that the WEF and the big internationalists have passed over to your Vanguard, your BlackRock, which goes down to your S&P 500 companies, all of your your big companies, all the way down to what we have street level. If you live in North America and most places, the big conglomerates that own the smaller chains that go down all the way down to your local level in terms of, if you want to call it matrix, or in terms of, at least with respect to work, the work side of the work side of the equation, the work side of it. So what are some ways that you can succeed considering everything that's been going on, everything that's going to be happening? Maybe we'll do some predicting forward, some areas that may be of growth in the next few years that you could leverage the information of kind of understanding where things are going to be headed, so that you can get ahead of that curve and maybe make fortunes or do well or do fairly well, or maybe your goal, depending on what you're looking at, is maybe just staying kind of where you're at, which is kind of like where I'm sort of looking to do. But yeah, I thought this was good as a topic because there's a lot of stuff online, and I want to kind of put it out there as sort of like a defensive kind of thing for men, not in like a get rich quick kind of way. I think we all have to be really, really careful with this. Anybody who's pitching you on get rich quick or hustle this and this is easy, getting rich is easy, becoming successful is easy, and we'll go into this a bit more later on, which is kind of the difference between, which I've touched on a little bit in videos this week, on running an honest business and, the differences between kind of an honest business and maybe something that's more dishonest. Take gouging, taking advantage of people, finding ways to do that. It's not good stuff. So what's kind of like the right way to do it, or what are some things that you can do going forward, considering the changes that are going to be occurring in the world? What are things that you can do for yourself and your family, your loved ones, that will help you get into a good spot and understand the system a bit more? Because through understanding comes peace. Peace comes through understanding. So understanding the system, understanding what's likely going to be changing and what's likely going to be happening going forward up to 2030, and how can you prepare for that? What are some areas that you might be thinking of going into if you're thinking of a career change, or what industries will be, likely doing well? How will inflation, affect assets? What are some good investments you could get in? What are the differences between, some good asset classes and kind of more fun money, like what I look at is like crypto, which you really just have no idea. But if you're looking for like maybe a get rich quick kind of, put everything in crypto and I'm not going to be providing you with specific financial advice as per your situation. But at the same time, I want to caution you on any of these get rich quick grifting things. Okay, so we'll go into all that. We'll go through it. What does it look like in real life to actually make a difference, to be a good person, to be a good man? What does that look like? And is there a difference between doing it kind of morally the right way and maybe the other way, which seems to be very kind of hot topic right now with men online. The comments that I'm getting, the response I'm getting from some of the videos that I'm doing. So we're gonna go through all of that, and I'm gonna try to give you guys some kind of down to earth things that you can do. Maybe we'll go into to the women a little bit too, but we'll see. Mostly for dudes and what that's going to look like. Thanks for verification there, San Andreas. Thank you, Private RLS, for the tip. Happy holidays to you and your family. Big time Happy New Year to absolutely everybody out there. A top T. Oat Milk gets me right away. He's got me with a top T. That's it. So in this video, we're going to be going through top T'ing. What is top T'ing? Is it selling? Taking advantage of people's emotions and selling them, on emotion, some kind of idea that they might be able to get with this person who works for you and they're not even talking to, but they think they are. Maybe we'll get into this. Boogeyman 1976. What's up? And Marco, what's up? We got Jeff. What's up, Jeff? HFG. Happy New Year, brother. Dory, what's up, Dory? How you doing? So Guts the Black Swordsman. I haven't seen your Andrew Tate video yet, but soon I will. That's okay. We can kind of go over a little bit here. I've done some more investigation into this. There was a really awesome video that Stefan Molyneux did with Tristan Tate, which is Andrew Tate's brother, about their business. And this is something that's become like way bigger than I ever thought that it could be or would be or what. This is like the top topic right now of this week. And there's a lot of reasons why, because it buys into the male ideal. It goes into, masculinity, starting businesses, escaping the matrix in a way of like escaping corporate America to do a small business, which I think is a great thing. It's a great thing if you can support yourself and you can support a family as an entrepreneur. But I really want to caution you guys as an entrepreneur, starting your own business, walking away from the corporate system, it's tough, okay? I'm not going to be in this video, or my message is not to sell you any get-rich-quick ideas. Can you do very well as an entrepreneur? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. However, is it easy? Is it something where you just walk, I'm ready to just leave my job, I'm ready to just quit my job and start my own business, and I'm sure my customers will just, flood in the door and everything will be great. Entrepreneurship is very difficult, guys. It's very, very difficult. So I'm not going to be in this video selling you the idea of Lambos. I'm not going to say just get some crypto and you're going to get yourself a Lambo or whatever. Just quit your day job and it'll be super easy, no problem. You'll be getting yourself a Ferrari in no time. That's not. I kind of look at this as like a second generation Tai Lopez. If you guys remember Tai Lopez, where he's selling knowledge, right? He's on YouTube. He's got all the commercials. He's selling you knowledge, and it's almost like KNAW, like knowledge. You guys remember this from a few years ago, the knowledge. So this is like a next generation is what this has become for, hustling and all this stuff. But if you back check the way that they actually made it themselves, there's a lot of stuff there that's not good, guys. Not good stuff, which maybe we'll get into later. But why don't we first go into kind of the truth? I'll be a truther in this way with respect to small business and with respect to masculinity. What are the pros and cons? What are some things with real, genuine masculinity that you can get out of life and get out of your career that are positive? So let's start with that. Let's go through that. And then after, we can go into kind of the dark side. So if you want to go Star Wars, let's go Jedi, and then we'll do Sith after, right? Let's do the good way to go first as a man, and then we'll go into the dark side afterwards and talk about the pros and cons of each, because I think it's very important. I don't want the internet to become this, this get rich quick, it's super easy type of thing. Guys, being an entrepreneur is very difficult, okay? It's very, very difficult. You can expect long hours. You can expect 60-hour weeks, maybe some 70s. You can expect possibly becoming what's known as an all-the-timer. So you have different categories of employment, and whether it's self-employment or if you're working, at a larger company, right? You have your casual part-timers who they just work a few hours. You got your part-timers who they work up to like a full-time. Sometimes maybe they hit the 40 hours, but a lot of times they're close. You got your full-timers, a lot of times salary. They're at full-time. You got your overtimers, which are your 40 to, let's say, 45 hours a week would be your overtimers, which there's a lot of people. And then above that, you have your kind of all-the-timers, where they're like 45 hours plus, and they're basically working all the time, pretty much. Maybe they get one day off a week, or they have a Sunday off, half a day on Sunday, Sunday off. That's what real entrepreneurship is usually like. It's an overtime to all the time type of thing. It's not a super easy 20 hours a week, 10 hours a week. Not if you're doing it in an honest way in the Jedi side, okay? We'll get into the Sith side afterwards. We'll get into how some people run scams, international type scams. I'll give you some examples of real world, customers or people that I experience all the time that deal with some scammers, calling them from other countries, trying to talk them into something and take advantage. And we'll get into that after. So sideways, you got it unwatched. So that's what it is. So what does this look like for real? Like, what does it look like to actually be masculine? I'll give you my take on it as in terms of the Jedi, or a good way of doing it, of being a man, the good way, okay? And we'll talk about the pros and cons. Masculinity, all right, so qualities or attributes regarded as characteristics of men or boys. That's your Google right there. All right, so that's what that looks like. And right away, I want to get into, so if I type in on Google, masculinity wallpaper, all right, just right away, just masculinity wallpaper, what do we see? We got pictures of Arnold, all right, juice to the gills, okay, we got pictures of, maybe some more natural type of people that aren't juiced out of their minds, that are, can be, strong physical prowess, hardworking, honest, all that kind of stuff. I would not classify this as real masculinity. Okay, this is not, I want to be clear here. This is not real masculinity. This is what I would consider feminine energy, because this is essentially cheating, is essentially what this is. This is steroids, right? This is massive amounts of steroids, okay? Now, I'm not saying there isn't masculinity involved. You're lifting weights, you're adding size, you're eating a lot. So that's all fine. However, it looks masculine from first glance, but it involves hormone use, right? It involves, instead of natural, healthy way of working out and doing it the right way, it involves getting your test levels to 12 to 15 times, a regular man, right? So that right there is what I mean when I talk about, if we're going to tell the truth here, if we're going to be honest about this, that is enhanced, right? That's craziness. Now, you could work out your whole life natural, lift weights all the way through. Maybe you could get close to that naturally. But, as we all know, right, he was on steroids, during his professional career, weightlifting and stuff. So these are some things that come up right away that I would say are big time red flags with respect to masculinity, right? But some of these are okay, but it's not about just getting juice to the gills, guys, and being like, oh, look at how how strong I am. My test levels are 12 to 15 times normal, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with maybe a couple times if you're taking zinc, if you're on a booster or something, if you're getting older, you're taking TRT. That's fine if your levels are maybe double or triple. Okay, this is like this kind of stuff. We're talking like 10 to 15 times that of an average dude, right? Is a lot of times you test them out. That's what you're looking at a lot of times. So what does it look like in terms of masculinity as far as, what's real about it, or what can be said to be, legitimate masculinity? Is it taking a whole ton of steroids? No, not in my mind anyway, not the way I look at it, okay? So what are some things that, I would say would make someone masculine, okay? A good man, a strong man, right? Number one, I'm going to go with working overtime. And again, I'm not selling you easy stuff here. It's not easy, right, to do it for real, right? Is it easier to cheat? Sure it is. It's easier to cheat. Sure it is to take shortcuts and maybe start a small business and gouge or be predatory and look for people to take advantage of. Sure, that's an easier way to go. But if you're going to do it in an honest way, okay, that's good for everybody, it is hard, right? It's difficult, okay? Number one, you're probably, one thing they can't really take away from you, the feminists can't find a way to screw you out of it. They can't find a way to mess with you with regards to it. They can't find a way to, HR can't find a way to, commoditize it, right? There really is there really is nothing better, I think, than simply your hours. Throughput. It's simple. The hours you work, one of your biggest advantages as a guy is you do have your testosterone, you do have the ability to have the ambition to go for it. One of the best things you can do is overtime. It's simple. You say anybody can do it. You have to be a hard worker, but you can work overtime. You can do that, right? You can get a second job if you have to save some money and start saving and, get ready to, maybe start investing. Maybe get a second job and save for a house, get a down payment for a house. This is real world shit that you can do to be seriously masculine, okay? Overtime. Instead of working 30 hours a week or 35, you pick up a second job to do on the weekends. You pick up, simple stuff. Could be Uber driving, could be pizza delivery, could be, you have one job, maybe you could ask them if they, have more hours available for you. You could get that second job where you could work a job during the day, and then at night and on the weekends you could work another job and boost your income by, who knows, 1,000, instead of 40 hours, you go to 55 or 60. You might be able to boost your income another $1,500 a month or more, maybe a couple thousand, depending. Really, find a way to increase it. That anybody can do that, guys. Anybody can decide, make a decision that I'm going to work 50 or 60 instead of 30 or 40. Anybody can do that, and it will allow you to earn more income and allow you to go ahead and save. All right, so let me just make sure we're live and everything's good. Yeah, we're good. So that's number one for me. It's simple. It's not easy because you're going to have to work extra and you're going to be tired. Yep, sometimes you're going to be tired. It's just what it is. But if you do that, you're going to be able to save more money. You're going to be able to, maybe get better tools for a service or business you can offer. You're going to maybe be able to save money to get a down payment on a house, to, buy some investments. If you want to buy some crypto, okay. You work extra hours and you take some of that and you buy some crypto. You take some of that and you buy some stocks. You take some of that and buy a couple bonds. You spread it around a bit. You got a house, maybe you work really hard and you get a second house, right? You do that, you rent it out. You become a landlord, you pay your house off, but then maybe you get a second one, you rent it out, this type of stuff. Going along with not just working extra to increase your throughput, frugality also, very important. It's something that everybody struggles with because we all like cool stuff. Do we not? Like, you guys see my background. I got toys and figures and stuff. We all like cool stuff. We all would like, the nice car, or maybe the bigger house with the chandelier and the new floors and all this stuff. But you can do that, but maybe you do it in a frugal way where you learn how to put in a floor yourself. And you rip up your floor, you watch some, you go slow and you get some tutorials on YouTube. You find out, how do I redo a floor? You go to Home Depot, you buy all your flooring stuff, you come home, you buy the tools, and maybe you do it. Maybe you learn how to do it, you do it yourself. You do one floor in one section of your house, and then maybe you decide, I'm going to go do another section. Rather than paying a contractor to come out and try to charge you, $3,000 to $5,000 when the tiles cost, $100 out of that, and the rest is labor, right? So, but safely, you're using saws and stuff. Be safe, be careful. Go slow. I think that's the key. Whenever you're doing stuff that you haven't done before, take your time, measure twice, cut once, go slow. Take your time, allocate a lot of time to doing what you're doing. Be careful so you don't, hurt yourself, especially the first time you do something, and the first few times, because you're not a pro at it yet. So you gotta take your time. Family, yeah. What could be more masculine than starting a family, having a family, taking care of your family? That's awesome stuff, right, guys? That's self-evident. That doesn't need to be. We don't need to, go into that any further. It's intuitively obvious. You know exactly what I mean. Is what it is. Building independence. So, just finding ways. Again, you're working more. You're being frugal, you're taking care of your family, and you're finding more ways to become even more independent. Maybe you're growing your own food. Maybe you're learning new skills that you can do around the house. Maybe you're learning how to, change your oil in your car. Again, safely and slowly, right? Being super careful, right? No accidents, right? Nothing like that. Or you could get someone to show you how to do it first, and then maybe you do it after yourself. But becoming more independent, becoming more self-reliant, relying less on, the systems that have made us lazy, right? The systems that have made it so that we don't have to do things ourselves. Starting to flex a bit and try to figure out ways of doing things yourself, right? Learning those skills, growing food, being ready to, in case something happens, saving firewood. Having extra, maybe it's saving to buy your own house, right, rather than renting. All of these things, right? I don't know what could be some other examples. Getting used to riding a bike. If your car, something happens to your car, becoming more independent if there's less gas or things like this. Depending on where you live. Being able to go and get groceries on your bike or something, getting used to that, getting things you need for that. That's a great way to go. Small business, awesome. Absolutely awesome if you can start your own business, if you can start to go from the overtime to working for yourself, awesome. Absolutely fantastic if you can do it. It's not easy though. It's not easy to start your own thing and think outside of the box and learn everything and make mistakes, grow from your mistakes, and stretch as far as that goes. Improve and learn how to sell, learn how to offer services, learn how to maybe acquire a good quality product that you can then sell elsewhere with a service, package it with a service or something. Small business, getting started, right? What are you selling? And then afterwards, we'll come back to this with respect to morality and how to do it, small business, the right way, and the honest way and the dishonest way, and the differences between both, right? In terms of risk, in terms of legal, in terms of all these things, we'll kind of touch on this a bit. Saving and investing, there's really no point in working overtime if you spend it all on toys, right? I mean, you guys can see my toys. For you, I don't know, it might be motorcycles, it might be, vehicles, it might be, I don't know, just going out partying, wasting on booze, expensive booze, whatever. I don't know. Pick your poison. We all have different things, but there really is no, as a man, and it goes for the girls too, similar for it can apply to women too. Some of these can apply exactly to women, but I just find that most people who start small businesses a lot of them are guys because they're kind of gutsy, they're ballsy, they want to go out and they're okay with making mistakes. They're not, they don't get fearful or timid or anything. The girls can do awesome in business though too as well, especially they're offering, beauty products. Women make most of the buying decisions. I think about 80% of buying decisions are female driven. So they can do awesome in small business too. They just may need some help with lifting stuff or things like that or whatever, unless they're like, tough themselves and they can lift stuff around themselves. Fair enough, right? That's fine. Saving, investing, we'll come back to later, but you gotta save at least. You can't invest if you don't save first, really, unless you're taking leverage, and that's really tricky, increasing risk to really high. Sobriety, I mean, it's obvious, right, what that is, being sober. Again, it's not all fun stuff if you're doing it for real. If we're talking for real, getting wasted. Okay, it's New Year's Day. Okay, so I understand if some of you guys are hungover. It's cool. I'm not saying that that you can't have fun, or you guys, I know a lot of you guys like smoke a joint or whatever. You like that. Okay, all right, fair enough. I'm just saying that, under control, right? Like keeping it in balance with your work and other things you're doing. Exercise and training, weight training, or, I don't know, a lot of you guys like BJJ, you want to go learn that. You take wrestling, you take, a combat sport of some kind, boxing, kickboxing, karate. I don't recommend Aikido because it's not real, but at least you're getting some movement with Aikido. But there's a problem with that because if you actually get in a real fight, it's probably not going to go good. So it gives you a false sense of security. So I'm not into that. But you guys know what I'm saying. Even just going for a damn run, going for a goddamn jog, doing push-ups, simple stuff, lifting weights, all that stuff. You don't even need a gym membership. You can get super fit just with a floor and the right exercises, maybe a couple dumbbells or something, right? Whatever. And then morality. So we'll go into this one and we'll switch back to the chat with you guys. So morality, all right, in terms of masculinity. This is a funny message someone just sent me. We'll get back to this. All right. Okay, so morality. So, all right. Now, I'm not going to try not to be sexist here, but I do want to say that I genuinely believe that morality is kind of more of a masculine trait, at least in the way that I think of ethics and morality. Now, women can be very moral as well, too, especially with respect to being faithful in a relationship and marriage and all that stuff. But I really feel like honesty and integrity in business it seems to me to be more of a masculine kind of trait. Stability and doing things the right way, disciplinary, morality, which is kind of self-explanatory. What do we mean by morality? Well, not screwing people, right? Not scamming people, not screwing people, not taking advantage of people for your own gain. I don't view that as masculine. If you're scamming people and you're talking them in, you're using the sweet words, which again I think is very feminine-esque. You could almost say it's like an aspect of female aggression, like feminine bullying and feminine reputation assassination, right? This I look at as feminine. Communication, like what I'm doing right now, is a bit feminine with you guys talking, communicating to you guys, speaking, right? This is kind of a feminine sort of trait to in terms of communication. But in terms of scamming, I personally view scamming as a feminine type of endeavor in a negative way, in a Sith type of way, right? Where you're basically looking for an advanced way to find, to set up a system or find a way where you can extract resources from someone without value. Okay, so you're extracting resources without providing the value to start. Now I'll give you guys, and this is important that we go through this. It's very important. So I'll give you a real world example of something I deal with on a professional basis in computers a lot. I deal with people where they get, good, honest, usually elderly, older people, okay? They're in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. They don't know much about computers. They can type their resumes, they can email their loved ones, they can send pictures to their grandchildren or their kids of their grandchildren usually. You guys know, older people. Older people that are not that good with computers, they don't really know that much about them. They kind of can get around enough to do their email and their pictures and their stuff, but they're not, they're not like us where we grew up with it, and, a lot of us who know all the ins and outs. They get scam calls from scammers, right? Usually from other countries, usually from, I don't know, whichever country. I'm not going to say a specific country because, to be honest, it is a good number of different countries where people are running these scams. They're calling elderly people and they're, using fear to manipulate them into paying them for a service that is not legitimate. So they may pay for a Google advertisement that pops up and says your computer has a bunch of viruses. They may cold call them and try to talk them into it. And then they get connected with remote desktop software to their computer, and they bring up command prompt, or they bring up event viewer in Windows, and they start telling people, elderly people, they start telling them, oh, your network's hacked. They make it up. Okay, this is what they do. They call them and they make it up. Say, your network's hacked. There's hackers. There's viruses in your computer. And 80-year-old, let's say, what's an old person's name? I don't know, Eleanor. Let's go with Eleanor. So old Eleanor's on the phone, right? And she's got grandchildren, she's got kids, whatever. Her husband, she's a widow. Her husband's got. Eleanor answers the phone, okay, or sees the pop-up about viruses, and they go, oh no, my computer has a virus. And the person, call this number. They see an ad, they call the number. Somebody from another country, right? And what are they doing? Oh, your computer has a virus. Pay us $400 and we'll remove this for you. All right, now here's the example. Here's the deal. Eleanor doesn't know the difference. She's 80 plus, let's say. All right, she just knows, oh, computer virus, that's bad. I have to get rid of that. Maybe I'll just pay this person Visa right now and they'll get rid of the virus. But here's the thing. The computer itself, if you look at the computer, it doesn't have a virus on it. This is basically a scam. Someone has paid for advertisement space on Google to show an advertisement that tells everybody that their computers all have viruses and that you have to call this number to get it removed. The person you're calling has paid for that advertisement to lie to you and tell you your computer has a virus. All right? You're 80, you don't know the difference. You're the sucker, let's say. All right? This is the language these type of people use. You're the sucker, all right? You're 80 years old, you're old Eleanor, you're calling the person saying, please fix my computer, remove the virus. They go through for maybe an hour, they dilly-dally, they do a whole lot of nothing. Maybe they install some free antivirus software. Okay, fair enough, but whatever. The key is, though, the person they're calling is the person who literally paid for the ad space to lie to old Eleanor that their system has a virus, and now is going to charge them $400 to remove the virus. Now, this is not the way, this is not masculine in my mind. This is not masculine behavior. You're taking advantage of somebody who doesn't know the difference. They don't know, okay? And you're finding a sucker. And then you're saying, oh, $400, maybe you get a few suckers a day. You're out of whatever country and you get you make $1,000 in a day. This is not masculine behavior, okay? This is not creating real value to people. This is screwing people, okay? This is lying. This is deceiving. Now, maybe legally they can't prove that you did, all right? Trev knows, for example, Trev sees the situation. Trev's computer science guy. He's dealt, professional 15 years of doing this. He knows that you scam the person, all right? He knows you do, but maybe the cops that are involved in the case, maybe they don't even get a call because old Eleanor doesn't know the difference and she genuinely believes that you actually helped her. The difference is it's a difference between actually creating value and helping somebody and scamming somebody, which I do not view as really masculine behavior. Now, here's the problem that we run into. Which one will earn more money if we're honest, okay? In the short term anyway. In the short term, which one earns more money? The scammers, in the short term, the Sith, the dark side, will make more money in the short term. They'll gouge people for no reason. They'll use event viewer. They'll use command prompt. They will confuse the person and get them to pay exorbitant amounts of money for nothing, basically, right? Because the person just doesn't know the difference, okay? And sure, that person can repeat that and maybe can make a great living. Maybe if they can get enough suckers, they can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Okay, but this is running a scam. This is not running something where you're actually helping society, okay? Now, sure, get rich quick is easy. Yeah, if you're going to scam Eleanor, it's easy. Sure. If you're going to tell her and she doesn't know the difference, what it is. And again, you can take advantage of the women. You can take advantage of men. What would be a way to take advantage of men? I don't know. Maybe you start something where you've got some webcam models, some women, and you're painting a picture through a website, through the internet, that people are actually paying for this person in particular, and they think they're having a relationship with a person, and that person is basically extracting resources. Men and women can both scam as well. Another example might be gold digging, where a female, this could be toxic femininity. They're allowed to say toxic masculinity. I'll say toxic femininity as well. We can say whatever we want. We don't need permission to say it. Here's an example of toxic femininity. Gold digging. A woman that marries an old fat guy only for his provisioning, only for his resources, and then divorces him a year or 2 years later to extract the resources. So let's say he's an older guy, maybe something happened to his wife, or maybe his wife divorced him, right? And a girl comes in, she's looking for a sucker. She finds an older guy. He's 50 or 60. He's balding. He's kind of fat, whatever. But he's half a millionaire. He's a millionaire, right? And genuinely inside, and only she'll know this, right? Goes with the guy only with the intention to get married and then get divorced a couple years later. Okay, so both sides, you can see this type of behavior on both sides. This dishonest Sith type behavior. And this is for you guys. You really got to protect yourselves and your assets. There's no reason to earn income, work 2 jobs, save and invest, buy a house, get married, and do all this stuff if you're not protecting yourself. You got to protect yourself in that situation too. If she moves in, go to your lawyer, you sign a cohabitation agreement, or wherever you're watching this, whatever country you're watching this in, get them to sign. If they won't sign, they don't move in. It's simple. Or maybe you don't, move in together at all. You're just casual, whatever. If you want to have a family, that's great. Then maybe you're going to do that. You just got to be careful, and you got to make sure that you're, have a good relationship with your solicitor. go and pay them up front. Pay the money. It's expensive, I know, but pay up front to protect your assets. You got to do that as well. You don't want to be that kind of sucker either. But yeah, so this is the world that we live in where, we all have to be careful. You want to be masculine, you want to work really hard, you want to do everything, but you also have to try your best to protect yourself. And it is hard because, you go through, there's the divorce machine, divorce court, so you do really have to protect yourself. So you want to work hard, you want to be a good man, you want to be ethical. You just have to try your best as you can, to protect yourself from the Sith type behavior of people who are dishonestly looking for ways to extract your energy, your stored energy in form of current from you that you worked hard to obtain. So is it easy to get wealthy, to become rich? No, it's not. It's not easy to become wealthy if you're doing it the right way. If you're offering good value, if you are helping people, if you are doing virus removals for people whose computers actually have viruses on them, right? If you are a mechanic and you're fixing someone's transmission because it actually has a problem with it, rather than being deceptive and telling them that, oh, there's something wrong with this, oh yeah, there's something wrong with that, we better charge you $1,000 to do whatever, and then, oh, you've got there's a problem here, right? Honest type of business, guys. If you're going to start a small business, please try your best, and I know it may not be in your best interest necessarily in terms of numbers, but please try your best to run an honest business where you're telling the truth, where you're helping people. And again, I know there's a difference between, ethics and morals and legal. Sometimes people can do extremely well for themselves and they don't get in any legal trouble because they found a way to do it to where nobody will press back on them. It's a pain. Lawyers cost money. The whole system costs money to, press something. But very simply, there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And I think human beings, most of us, know the difference, okay? Now, if you do go the Sith route and you found a way to extract resources from somebody with their free will, so you've used emotion maybe to buy into their free will to extract the resources for yourself. Okay. All right. I don't support it, first of all. Okay? I don't think it's masculine type behavior. I don't think it's good for anybody. I think this is how the whole world goes to hell. Hell is also, we should also say, the ideas of heaven and hell, they can be right here on earth. They can be right here. We, with providence, as people, can turn the world into a paradise where people treat each other well, where we take care of each other, where we do right by each other, or we ourselves, with our behavior, can turn it into hell ourselves. One person at a time. One dishonest small business at a time. One person taking advantage of others, doing the wrong thing, and normalizing it, and it's spreading to others like a negativity virus. You want to say virus? Okay, so that's it. So heaven and hell can be right here on earth, depending on our decisions and depending on our free will choice to either do things the right way, help other people, not take advantage of them, even though we know that it won't pay as much and we won't get paid as much for a fair price of fair services, and doing things in a way where we can benefit ourselves and the person also gets honest value out of the service, okay? Without gouging them, without taking advantage, without doing all these underhanded, a lot of times international type of tactics. And I understand, maybe if you do it the right way, you won't be able to get, 3 mega mansions and 100 cars or something. Okay, I understand that. But if you're doing things the right way, you're also not hurting people. You're actually making their lives better, which is how the system is supposed to work. Now, there are people that hack the system and find ways to, do maximum resource, current, energy extraction from people with savings of the currency, just as energy saved, of energy work to save, stored in capacitance, and then somebody trying to find a way under free will, using emotion and using trick tactics to try to convince the person that they need to give that to them for some, these type of things. So I definitely want to put that out there that, each of us is more important than we realize. We have a bigger impact on the others than we realize. And through our behavior and our choice to either be a Jedi or a Sith, okay, that will ripple out to others. Okay, that will cause a ripple effect that will go out to others. And you've heard it before. We've all heard it. Well, that's just how it is, right? This is like a Sith talking point, right? It'll be, well, that's just the world, right? I got screwed over. I'm a victim from before. Somebody screwed me over, and that's just how the world is. And then I screw this person over, right? That's just how it is, right? You know how it is. It's just whatever. I got to pay my bills, whatever. I just got to do this thing. So that's the thing to watch out for. So, so definitely want to put that out there. There's a right way to do things. There's a wrong way to do things. If you're going to start a small business, it's a highly masculine thing to do. It's going to require usually overtime hours, extra work, extra diligence, possibly legal protection, whatever you're involved in, right? But please, if you're going to do that, please do it the right way. Please don't take advantage of people and gouge them. I understand charging a fair price and not underselling yourself either. You don't necessarily want to undersell yourself so you go out of business also, but also not gouging and taking advantage of people as well. So that's what I got for that. And I don't want this type of mindset to permeate into the culture of predatory extraction. This person screwed me, so if I go and I screw over Eleanor or somebody, then somehow I can justify this or something. And well, it's not illegal. Lawyers, whatever, they tried to do whatever, but it didn't. Not technically illegal. Person agreed to it. All right, I know, but I don't know, man. I don't know. So so that's what I have to say about a lot of this recent kind of stuff that's been going on. But how we can succeed during the next 10 years, right, from 2020 to 2030. That's a way that just about anybody can do it. Increasing your hours, starting small businesses, saving money, trying not to waste money, maybe storing extra food, buying some chickens, growing extra food, and trying not to be a sucker yourself. Trying not to, when whoever makes the offer, whether it's some local scammer or if it's a big scammer like, I don't know, a big company or something which has got an idea where they're going to do this thing and then they're going to try to sell you on this or sell you on that. Really be careful. Believe hardly anything of what you hear and only a bit of what you see, right? Understand that most of human behavior is agenda driven. It's driven to, better people themselves at maybe sometimes at the expense of others. So really protect yourself and protect your families. Like I said, save, do all those things, start small businesses, try to become more self-reliant, get rid of debt if you can, because debt is always really tough. And then maybe you can look at, saving, investing a bit. Maybe you can get a little crypto if you want to. But another thing I want to say is that some people I've seen also say not to buy a house. Like, don't buy a house, just rent, whatever. There are some cases where renting makes sense if you're going to move, for example. So if you go somewhere for a job for a couple years and you know that you're going to be moving after like 2, 3, 4 years or something, and you're just going to live there for a little while, then sure, go and rent there for a little while, and then you're going to be leaving. But if you're going to be staying where you are for more than 4 or 5 years, you probably want to get a house. Now, you also have to understand, I'll give you the numbers for where I live in Canada. House appreciation is 5% a year, okay? Right now, we're also seeing inflation on top of that, which might be like 10% or 8% or who knows exactly what it is. So just by you buying that house for 5 years, let's say, 25%, 5% a year, it's a little more than 25% because it's 5% after in terms of growth. It's not equal each year. It's 5% and then 5% of that, 5% of that. 5%. So over 25% increase in the value of the house, at least for where I live in Canada, 5% appreciation a year. 5 years if you live there at least. You're getting a 25% increase on it versus just paying rent each month. In addition to that, if the money is inflated, houses do awesome as real assets for against inflation. They basically usually move up close to the same amount, as the inflation rate in themselves. Usually. Now, there's different situations. Sometimes places can have protests and get burnt down and shit, and crazy stuff like that can happen. But most of the time, a house is one of the most masculine things. Buying a house is one of the most masculine things you can do. And then protecting it afterwards with whoever's going to live there with you legally, so that you don't lose it if she decides that, hypergamy makes her, run off or something, whatever, right? Later on. It's one of the best things you can do, guys. There are certain circumstances where maybe you want to rent and maybe it's smart to rent and that makes, good sense depending. But most of the time, you're probably going to want to maintain ownership of the, of a house. Appreciation, inflation protection, insurance. You can get insurance on a house. Whereas when you buy stocks or bonds or crypto, how are you going to get insurance on that for a small-time guy? Maybe if you're a hedge fund manager and you've got, millions or billions of dollars under your, then you can do like stop losses and puts and all this more advanced stuff. But for average, regular people, you're not going to be able to get insurance usually on stock portfolios, paper assets, certainly crypto. I don't think there's many ways to get insurance. If you could, it'd probably be very expensive. House insurance you can get cheap, in case the place burns down or something happens. There's almost no better of an investment than a home. Really, really. And especially if you're going to have a family and you can do all this stuff, getting into a home, you can always, if you got the room, you can do an addition. You can add a couple rooms in the back if you need to. If you got a couple extra, if you have more than maybe 1 or 2 kids or whatever, you can do an addition. Doesn't usually cost that much, maybe $100,000 extra or something for an addition later on. You can add things. You can add a bathroom. You can do that stuff. If you're really handy and you got some experience as a handyman, fixer-uppers are awesome, really great. Just be cautious of flippers. That's the only thing. If you're buying a house, be careful of flippers. Get a house inspection done. Do all that good stuff just to make sure you're not getting screwed, right? Because don't be a sucker. You got to be careful. Always careful, right? Always double checking and really thinking things through. Maybe ask your buddy to get a second opinion. Have them take a look. As long as they're not, a Dumbo or something. They're actually sober and with it, right? Maybe get them to check it. But yeah, there's almost no better investments than a house, most of the time. Crypto's fun. All that stuff's fun. Different cars and stuff. Okay, it's cool. I know some guys like to collect the cars and stuff. But, in terms of appreciation, in terms of saving money from paying rent, if you're going to live there more than maybe 4 years, you might want to be thinking about buying instead of renting. Renting usually has a premium. If the place appreciates, the landlord's going to make a lot of money off you. You're renting. I don't want to say that renters are always suckers, but kinda. Like most of the time, if you're renting, you're kind of a sucker, sorta, because the landlord, depending on what they charge you, if they charge you a good amount, okay, fine. But if you're in an inflationary environment with appreciation, with immigration, meaning more people to live in the right places faster than they can build them, unless population starts to decrease, which could happen in the next 5 or 10 years. If that does happen, then okay, real estate might not be the best. But if that happens, what would be the best to invest in? Really hard to say. Gold, silver, I don't know. Maybe crypto, maybe, but that's kind of fun money crazy. It could go down to 0 too. Stocks and stuff, it's tough to say. It's really hard to find a better investment than a house. And like I said, if you're moving, okay, then you rent. But otherwise, I don't know. Yes, there's property tax. That's true. But your landlord has worked that into your rent price, just so you know. When we buy, if I'm a landlord and I'm buying a property, which I've looked at, right, thought about getting into, they're going to factor in the property tax, the mortgage amount, the percentage, and you're going to be paying all of that anyway, just in your rent price, with a premium for profit. But here's the kicker. If the place appreciates in value while you're living there, I'm sorry to say, dude, if you go into a room, you don't know who the sucker is, get yourself a mirror, bro, because you're the sucker. Property taxes, if you're renting, who do you think's paying those? Now, if you're renting in like an apartment building or something, okay, maybe then, you have to look at the amounts, right? You got to do the math. But, just like in the prices that I've seen recently, I always take a look like every little while. I'll tell you, man, going back to 2018 to right now, housing prices have exploded where I live. Exploded. They've gone up way more than I thought they would. Anybody who's been renting the last 5 years where I live, oh man, you just lost a lot of money. You probably lost 100 grand, at least 50, maybe 100 grand you lost by renting instead of buying. Maybe. It's a lot of money, man. I'm just saying. So these are things you have to work in. Do the math. Be careful. And I wouldn't want you guys to get underwater and buy something you can't afford. But there's very few investments that are as sound and as good as buying a house. But if maybe, who knows? Maybe if your landlord is a sucker and he's underselling the rent price of the place, but then maybe you're getting a good deal. But that's kind of a bit rare, I think. Most of the time they're going to charge you a premium for renting versus owning. So, but yeah, you got to save money first if you're going to buy a property also. So there are a lot of factors involved. But protect yourself, be careful, but also try not to be a sucker at the same time. Okay, always do your math. Get a sheet of paper, write it out. What are the percentages? Add in 5% appreciation for most places. Look it up online. Find out where you live. What's the appreciation price per year on average of the place you live, where you live. And if you live in a good area, it might be 5%, 4%, 3%, just in appreciation. So if you're living there and you're paying the property taxes through your rent and the mortgage through your rent and everything else, while that guy you're renting from, or maybe gal, is renting that property out to you, and that property went up by 5% or 7% over a few years, oh man, you definitely want to be getting that mirror going, like looking at yourself like, do I see it? Does it say sucker next to my thing? Just be careful. That's what I'm saying. Be careful of renting. That's what I'm saying. Be careful of the risks of renting when housing prices are going up by appreciation so much, and you're paying all those things to your landlord, who's then getting that appreciation, maybe laughing. So again, be careful. Don't be a sucker. Don't be a sucker as a buyer. Don't be a sucker as a renter either. Find a good deal. If you're going to live there for 3 years and move, okay, then you don't. But otherwise, yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right, so I'll give you just my experience, what it is, and that's it. And again, you can do the crypto stuff if you want to, but just be careful, because we don't know what the future of that could be as an asset. Maybe it triples in value. Maybe it quadruples or goes up 5 times. Or maybe it goes down to 0 and the bigwigs find a way to squash it totally with some central bank digital currency and outlawing all other digital currencies or something. It could happen. It's within the realm of possibility. We have to accept that we don't know the future, and that is a possibility for crypto holdings. So, be careful what you put in. But yeah, that's give you my take on all these different things. And right now you can't even hold bonds anyway. Really, there's no reason to discuss bonds, because you can't really hold them with inflation anyway. If you do that, you're guaranteed a loss. If you hold cash, you're guaranteed a loss. So yeah. So anyway, that's economics for you. Give you my thoughts on that. So thanks again for private RLS. Happy New Year to everybody. Let's see your chat and see what you got. Yeah, so sorry, Owen Malloy just said, guys, rented 2 years, waste of $50K. Yeah, It's tough, man. But the thing is, like, I understand, like, if you don't have enough for a down payment, you can't do it. Then okay, that's what it is. But that's where the second job can come into play, right? Where you can do it. You got to believe in yourself. You can work Saturdays. You can. You won't die. As long as you're not doing anything crazy. You won't die working an extra day a week or working nights after your day shift, doing that second thing. But again, guys, I'm telling you the truth about what this stuff actually looks like. Again, I'm not selling you, some get rich quick thing. That's really not how it works. Most of the time, these are the things that people have to do if you don't have, the money to start. You're going to have to get that second job, save, and then maybe you can start your own business, with the money you save, or, just get access to it. I don't recommend starting a business on a loan. That's really, really tough. Taking out loans like that and stuff is really tricky, man. You want to talk high risk. People who are taking loans to be able to start something small, really tough, man. Starting a business is hard enough as it is. It takes years. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes building a customer base. There's a lot of things involved in starting a small business. You just have no idea. Your taxes become more complex and difficult to do. You may want to hire somebody. You may need other people's help to start it. And you don't really want to start a small business usually with debt. It increases your risk a lot. I would say get the second job for a couple years, save your money for a few years, and use that to go into a small business yourself. And then if you do make big wins, save your money from the big wins, buy a few things that are nice for yourself, that's fine, but then use that as a pattern for when you, continue in your business. So if you start a small business and you do great in your first 5 years or 10 years, save your money for when later on, if the business has setbacks, you will have cash to go to deal with the setbacks, okay? To be able to pivot and adjust and go in different directions with the business, all right? So that you're, so in other words, don't just waste all your profits if you do well, and don't invest everything back into the business right away. Keep some padding of income extra. Keep some padding in case of the rainy days, in case of things going wrong, all right? So that's another principle that's very good. But see, it won't be trending on YouTube because it's not quick and easy. It's not, you can just work 20 hours a week, do it honestly, and, buy yourself 5 houses or something. It doesn't, that's not real life. If I claim to be any kind of a truther at all, which I like to say that I kind of still am, that's not what that looks like. It is going to be, a lot of hard work, frugality, calculating risk, calculating, what things look like, and then taking action after you've measured twice and you're ready to cut. You've measured twice, you've gone slow, you've thought everything over, now you're ready to make your cut. Be careful and, turn your saw on, and that's really what it looks like in real life, right? If you're doing it honestly. If you're gouging and you're doing the other stuff, okay, maybe it's easy then if you just have no morals whatsoever and you're looking to just extract, resources. If you even call that a business. I mean, I don't think of that as a real business. I think of that as scamming, basically, a professional scammer. And then what are the risks involved with the Sith way of doing it, the dark side way of doing that stuff? Well, there's legal liability involved. There, it can come back to, people can, press charges. They can do all this stuff later on. So even that way, if you choose to go the Sith route, which I don't recommend at all, I don't support at all, it can still come back to bite you and you can lose everything, right? Because you can get caught with whatever you're doing if it's dishonest, and then what you lose everything. So, so I recommend if you're going to start a small business, do it honestly, with a fair price that leaves enough profit for you to maintain your business and continue on. Save extra profits as you get them. be careful, be frugal, check your balance, every month, do your numbers, check your expenditures, check your P&L, your profit and loss, your expenditures, and your income every month. Do your, have good bookkeeping, do your taxes properly, do it the right way, and you can do, that's my advice. I'm going to give any kind of advice. You can do very well for yourself, but it's not 10 hours a week. It's not 20 hours a week. It's 50 or 60, some 70s. I've done some 80s. So this is not me telling you something that I haven't done myself. I have clocked 80-hour weeks before. I have done it. It's not easy. I'll tell you right now, it's not easy, but I've done it. Basically, you're just sleeping, you're getting up, you're having a oatmeal probably, maybe as much as you can eat for breakfast. You're having your shower, you're going to work, you're starting work right away as you're waking up. You're working to lunch, you want to get good protein and carbohydrates in your body, maybe coffee throughout the day, drinking more as the day goes long. You finish your 8 hours, maybe you have a shower, you just get rid of, sweat and stuff, and then you go back again and you work more, and you do that at least 6 days a week. And then maybe on your Sunday, the 7th day, you go get groceries, you cut the grass, you shovel the driveway, whatever you got to do. At home, you clean, you do laundry, all that stuff, and then you do like a half day. That's an all-the-timer. That's an 80-hour week type thing. But then if you do that for a while and you're doing well, maybe you can hire somebody to help you, and then they can work for you, and they can alleviate some of that, and you could reduce in hours. But good help is hard to find. It's difficult to find somebody that you can pay an adequate amount to, that will be motivated to do it the right way. And you always, when you bring in other people, you do take on risk as well, because you never know if they might, be in a Sith themselves, pocketing some and taking some out the back door. I mean, that happens all the time when you start to include others in your business. So what a lot of guys do is they'll run their business, but they'll handle the payment, and they'll have their workers just do stuff that doesn't involve the payment itself. That way they don't get somebody doesn't use the 5-finger algorithm on it, and a 5-finger discount on it, and pocket it, and then no customer, no whatever, pocket it, right, when they're not. So yeah, man, that's what I got for you as far as that. If you want to say top T, that's your top T for you. Okay, that's real. That's what it looks like in real life if you're doing things the right way. And sure, I understand why guys get into scams and scamming and all that stuff, because then they can earn a lot more by taking advantage of people, and they just have to shut off their mind as far as ethics and morals goes. And they're just like, sadistically laughing at the sucker they're taking advantage of. So I understand that. But, that's not, it's not good, man. And they always have to, once you enter that world as well, you always have to watch your back as well. Because if you scam people and you gouge and do things like that, you never know if somebody finds out that you scammed them or did something to them. You always got to watch your back all the time, right? Because you never know if you might get caught or things might happen. So that's why it's incredibly risky, let's put it that way, to do that. The risk escalates tremendously, right, if you're doing a dishonest type service. So that's why I always say, honest type of business, honest type of service, real value, finding something you can do that serves the community, that helps people, that really, offers something that will, better their lives, improve their lives so that they're happy, and they tell their friends about how great of a service you offer or how great of a product you offer, and word of mouth spreads that way. You do it the honest way, and then you don't have to watch your back as much. Still have to watch a little bit, but not like that, where you're really, taking people for all they're worth and finding ways to do that, and then they may want retribution for that after, or maybe the law comes for you and things like this. Do it the right way, guys. Do it the honest way, and don't expect going in for you to not have to be an all-the-timer and do some 60s, 70s, 80s. All right? If you want to do it, go for it. Expect for your 60s, expect for your 70s. And yeah, you're going to have to be tough. You're going to have to wake up sometimes after 5 hours of sleep, 6 hours of sleep, and go to your business, and maybe it's doing well, or maybe you're struggling because you're trying to start a small business. You don't have customers to start with yet. It's going to be tough. So, you got to get those customers. So you may have to put some money into flyers. You may have to get out there and start, I don't know, talking to people, knocking on doors, handing out, some advertisements yourself, right? This is the real world of how this actually looks like, right? That's how it actually is if you're going to do it the right way. But it's worth it, because if you can do it and you can get your first 5 years under your belt, you can get a customer base, then you can offer great value. You can work for yourself. Maybe you can hire some people, and that's a great way to achieve independence. Yeah, so that's it. So in terms of system is rigged, all that stuff, you can't get ahead. Yes, you can get ahead, but you're going to have to probably increase your hours. First of all, that's what I think. That's the best thing you can do. Go to your 50s, go to your 60s. Simple shit, not complicated. No super magic trick, or I don't know. I'm not pulling rabbits out of hats here for you guys. I'm just the white rabbit telling you, here's the rabbit hole. You want to start a small business. That's what it looks like. That's what you should expect to see once you go down that rabbit hole, okay? But it's great. It's also great, too, because, you can do something meaningful in the system that's not as Borg-like, right? So that's good, too. And some areas in the next 5 or 10 years that could be booming, right? So let's go into that. What are some areas going up to 2030 that could be booming? Well, what do we think? Energy, right? The different types of new energy that are coming out. I don't know, maybe you can offer a business where you install solar panels. Maybe you can, offer something in healthcare. Maybe you can do something, in, I don't know, any of the different industries that are likely going to be big in the near future. Energy, healthcare, what else? I don't know, construction maybe, because people are getting real lazy after the shutdowns and stuff, right? They don't want to get out and sling, be swinging hammers. So I don't know, maybe you could work in construction, make good money there. Maybe you could, I don't know, there's always tech is always something that's there too, right? So, different industries that could be doing very well going up to 2030, right? So, and those could be some great ways to start a real business where you're offering value. You're doing solar panels. I don't think it's that complicated. You could probably pay some people to learn how to do it, work at one for a little while, learn how to do it, learn everything involved, and then go into business for yourself, offering that yourself, starting your own little solar thing, getting customers, doing the installs, doing all that. Great stuff for sure. Yeah, so that's what you can do. Yeah, mechanics are great. Car mechanics are awesome. They're entrepreneurs, most of them. Who else are entrepreneurs? A lot of doctors are entrepreneurs. Dentists are typically entrepreneurs. They're starting their own dental clinic. They become a dentist. They work for a few years for another dentist, and then they a lot of times start their own dental office. And they're not gouging. They're charging a good amount, but it's it's you're fixing people's mouths so they can stay healthy. You're fixing their teeth and all this stuff so that they can do well. But it is a kind of high priced thing. You may need some debt to do that too. So yeah. Boogeyman says put extra money into food and meds and lead. HFG, the emotional freedom that comes with owning your own business is priceless. Awesome. Absolutely. Unwatched says sideways, says how was y'all New Year's going so far? Awesome. So far having lots of fun here. Unwatched, really good stuff. And this is a wild topic for, Beamies, I think it needs to be said, right? I will use what reach I have, which is not that much. It's a little bit, but I just put it in the ether, put it out there for people. Caution people so they don't, have unrealistic expectations and get into something super risky and think that they're going to, knowledge and all. Okay, buying books is great. It's one of the first things you should do is educate yourself, get on Amazon, buy some books, get some knowledge, right? Okay, fine, that's great. But also at the same time, understanding that, these type of, I don't know, just watch your expectations, guys. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with training courses and going to different programs and stuff. That's all great. But just be careful. Don't be giving these people $10,000 or $20,000 to go to some island retreat with them or something and get their private, motivational advice, with, I don't know, motivational speakers and people like this. This is craziness, man. Joe Stratus, live to work, basically. As a man, pretty much, that's what it looks like. But I don't see an alternative. If we're going to talk 2030 and the SDGs and the reset and everything, here's what we're looking at. We're looking at women 4 times as likely to get promoted than men. 4 times as likely to be promoted than you. So you just have to understand, 4 times as likely to be promoted. It's not, you got Fink at BlackRock talking about forcing behaviors. What does he mean by that? Forcing behaviors. Pretty much means top down, who's going to be getting the promotions, who's going to be moving up. You could still do it. You could still apply for promotions and try to move up and do your best. But, 4 times as likely, your people of minority are going to be above, promoted first probably. So it's tricky, right? And I don't want to have a defeatist attitude here that you can't also do the classic moving up of the corporate ladder thing. That works for some people. It doesn't work for everybody. It depends on, typically I'd say, your agreeableness. Usually these people are actually not successful. And I'll tell you why here. If you're really agreeable, a lot of times I find you'll be promoted, because you're kind of like going along with everything, and you're in terms of teamwork and in terms of all that stuff, you're probably gonna move up there. But usually that agreeableness will bite the person because they will be more predisposed to being a sucker in any endeavor. They're more agreeable. They're more likely to say yes. They're more likely to be taken advantage of by your Sith people, right? Maybe they'll take a promotion, but they won't take it for a raise. Maybe they will, go into something they're unfamiliar with, and they'll say, okay, yes. Maybe they'll, buy a house that has an unstable foundation and say, oh, well, I'm sure this person won't sell me a junk house with a bad foundation. I'm sure this person wouldn't do that to me, right? Like this kind of stuff. So I don't know. Lots of different situations, lots of different types of people. So is what it is. But yeah, to be real, in the next 5 or 10 years, I don't know. The corporate system, yeah, you can do well in, and that's a good way to do it with low risk, because if you apply for promotion and you don't get it, well, that's fine. You just don't get it. As long as you don't get jaded and like quit the next day or something, and then that costs you. But, it's going to be tough also for the guys, I think. The corporate America is going to be tough for guys going forward. I really think so, because when I listen to all the bigwigs and what they want femininity in the higher positions. It's kind of obvious. Even Boris is coming out and saying, like, how do we get them to be more feminine and stuff? You guys should really pay attention when you hear, some of these bigwig power brokers speaking like this. Fink and the others. It's like, you got to really watch, like, what are they thinking? What do they mean by this, right? Like, more feminine. What do they mean? Well, pretty simple. What it's probably going to mean is more women in positions of power, which is going to make it tough for the guys to get into those positions. Pretty much, maybe one of the best strategies in corporate system is to be a guy but act feminine. Going forward, that might be a good way to go. So you are masculine, but you have to be an actor. You have to be, and again, it's a little Sith-based a little bit, but it's kind of the nature of the beast. You may have to pretend to be feminine in the corporate structure in order to move up in a lot of cases. you'll have to quiet that disagreeableness, which is more masculine, right? Disagreeableness is more of a masculine than feminine trait that people have. Women are more agreeable. They're more going with the flow and trying to get along and trying to work together, and teamwork, and teamwork makes the dream work. What they playground shit, right? They turn into playgrounds. That's what it is. So you could be an insider. Okay, you could. I'm serious too, right? You could be masculine, but you could play pretend, where you are basically giving them what they want to hear, pretty much. Now that's slanted, but some people are really good at that. They really will go into systems and they'll find ways to just tell people what they want to hear in order to serpentine up, right? So maybe that works for you. If it does, great. If it lets you get your savings, so then you can get your down payment for a house or do something like that. Again, we have to have some balance here. I don't want to be a purist, say that absolute morality is the goal necessarily, depending on your situation. It may not work out that way. And certainly in corporate America right now, that would be a disadvantage, I think, for a lot of people. So you may just have to be a good actor if you're going to go into the corporate system and try to move your way up. You may just have to find a way to kind of disguise your masculinity and your disagreeableness. Disguise, right? Oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Awesome. Meanwhile, it's fucking retard. But that's what you might have to do. You might have to do that. You might have to, play pretend to be, in it to win it in order to do that. So that's it. The only thing I would caution a lot of guys on is taking promotions without a raise. So getting promoted, but the company not giving you an increase to be promoted. That's tricky. That's, in entrepreneurship, we call that an action fake. Okay? So there's an action take. Here's some knowledge for you, right? There's such a thing as an action take and an action fake. An action fake is when somebody pretends to do something, but it isn't genuine. So it could be getting down to do push-ups and doing, like, saying you did 40 push-ups, but really you went down like this far and went back up. So you didn't touch your chest to the ground each rep. You just went down like this and then you went back up. That would be considered an action fake, all right? You pretended to do 40 push-ups, but you didn't touch the chest to the ground each time. That would be considered an action fake, all right? So there's an action take and there's an action fake. An action fake is where you pretend to have done something that seemingly it has the disguise and the allure of action taking, but it's just action taking for, appearance sake without the substance. Right? So that's something I would caution you on. That's a good example is the fake push-up example. Oh yeah, I did 40 push-ups. I just did them. Yeah. You check the push-ups. I didn't even do one full one, but oh yeah, I did 40 push-ups. Right? So that's an action fake. So yeah. All right. Let's see what you guys had to say about this, and if you have anything to add here. Owen Malloy says, your opinion on OT will change once the baby comes. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Time and a half. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Spend time with your 3 kids. Absolutely, Owen. Absolutely. In terms of corporate, it's tough with time and a half or sometimes with overtime at your job. I absolutely agree. You're right. You don't want to be a sucker either. If your time is better spent with your 3 kids, being there, being a dad, versus what they're going to pay you, absolutely. I'm just going through some general things here. They're going to apply for different people. Some of them might not apply. An example for you, Owen, might be like a promotionary opportunity, right? Where maybe there's a management or a senior management position available, but if you took it, you'd have to move or something. your whole family, you'd have to move, or you'd go to do it and you might be on call after work, or you might have to work extra hours. But yet when you go to negotiate it, they tell you that there's no raise for it, or it's like 2% or 1% or 3%, right? Which essentially is an action fake. It basically, nothing has happened. You haven't changed anything. But what you've done is you've faked it to tell yourself and your ego that you've made a difference. That's like the 40 push-ups where you don't touch the floor. It's an action fake. It doesn't really change your income situation. It doesn't change the lives of your children. If it does, maybe a little tiny bit, 2%, 3%, inflation's at like 8%. But 1%, 2%, 3%, is the time better spent with your kids instead? Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So balance is important, and yeah, I want to put that out there as well too. And it also isn't good to only live to work all the way through and then die, right? As well. Yeah, so you have to probably want to have a family at some point. Have to have some kind of family life as well too. So yeah, you have to make these decisions, yourself for your life. Absolutely. But let's try to go through. Here's another good one from Owen, who says, "Hustle when you're young to establish yourself." Love it. And then he says, "Then never get married or get a prenup." Okay. Okay. Well, all right. It's cool. Let's not get into the marriage debate, because that's tricky, right? And you gotta watch again. We gotta bring in the sucker check. I'll just say, talk to your solicitor first. Talk to your lawyer first before you do that. Look at your assets in your business and what you have, and decide like if that makes sense or not. Just be careful, dudes. That's what I'm saying, right? Don't be a sucker as far as that goes either. So yeah, okay. Let's see. Some great points here. Love it. Jeff Ferguson says, number 10, all life is precious. Love it. That's true. I agree. Vito says, just survive somehow. That's good. I like that, Vito. Happy New Year's. Daryl Dixon TV. Love it. Happy New Year's to Jeff Lane. Jeff Lane. Once you know Tate's father was in CIA, that's all you need to know. Yes. Absolutely, Jeff. You got it. That's all you need to know. But I just want to put all this out there because I want to be real with people's expectations. This kind of just mindset is literally, it's ridiculous, that you're going to be able to do all that. Because remember, whenever you earn income, someone else has to spend that income for you to get it. So it's sort of like when people tell you everyone can be rich. This is one of the dumbest effing things I've ever heard of in my life. This shows an absolute lack of understanding of how economics even works to begin with. A system, let's say you have a system of 10 people, and that's a country or an economic system, just 10 people. Each person starts out, they get $10 each, okay? They go around and they start spending money with each other to trade services like food. Maybe a couple guys get together, start building some huts and whatever, and you trade money around. There's only so much money in that system. The idea that everybody can be rich in a system is without some kind of crazy, advanced tricks and things like this. Not everybody can be rich. If everyone starts out with $10, okay, you only have 10 people, $10, you have $100 in the system, okay? If one guy becomes really advanced and finds a way to get 60 of those dollars, there's only 40 for the rest to go around. It's really silly to have this idea that everyone can be rich, or it's easy to become rich. In order for you to get some more money than the $10, you would have to be rich and to be more wealthy than the others, let's say. You have to have them pay you to displace the current, to displace the energy. So they've got 10 units worth of energy. You've got 10 units. Everybody's got 10. After a couple years, people are spending the energy around. One person maybe gets up to 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever. The rest only have so much. then the owner of the system can say, I'm going to inflate or print more money and put more money into the system for the people at the bottom, okay, give it to them, and then they'll be able to spend and do whatever. That causes inflation and other things. But in a simple example, of course not everybody can be rich. A system only has so much credits in it, so much units in it. If somebody starts to accumulate more units, it has to come from the others to go to that person. Not everybody can, okay, if there's 100 units in the system of currency, okay, how could every person have 100 units if there's only 100 in the system? It's stupid is what it is. Not everybody can have 100 units in a limited system. So you say, why don't we just make it 1,000 units, then everyone can have 100. That creates that. What that does is it inflates it. It reduces the scarcity, which reduces the value, and it all evens out anyway. You see? So it doesn't matter. No, not everybody can be rich. That's total nonsense. In order for you to store capacitance, in order for you to store energy and to save money, someone else has to give it to you. Someone else has to spend it to you, which reduces their amount. So no, not everybody can be rich, and no, it shouldn't be easy to be rich, because that's other people giving you money. If you are offering a good service, overtime is a tool that you can use to displace some of that energy to you. All right? But no, not everybody can just be rich. That's seriously, just brain dead stuff, right? No thinking whatsoever, no thought involved whatsoever of that. Because even by injecting more, it just increases the amount. It doesn't. Scarcity is what gives it value, not the number. Because it's the scarcity in accordance to the other amounts that are out there in the total pot. That's what matters. So, that's just crazy stuff. What is this? YouTube username Gilbates Parody says, Luke Radowski is controlled opposition. It's obvious. Well, most of them are controlled opposition. Most people out there are controlled opposition. Yeah, most of them are. So that's just the truth of it, and whatever. I mean, again, they're probably going to get more credits for doing it that way, in terms of energy in the system, than they would if they did it honestly. So again, there's always an incentive or a lure to possibly do things on the dark side in the Sith way, in a dishonest way. There's always that attraction to that. Especially for small guys. You can understand the short guys, right? And why they get slanted. The short guys get slanted, obviously, because they kind of have to be. Because women select for height, for example, one of the first things. That's something that I didn't know. I had no idea, because I thought from a bodybuilding perspective, okay, from a bodybuilding perspective, in terms of proportions, you think that, like when I look at guys that are taller, I think they look weird because they look lanky. Their proportions are wrong, right, of their musculature. But no, they select for that. They like that. So that's the difference between male and female. But you can see why the short guys would become slanted, because they need more resources for provisioning than the taller guys do automatically, right? So you can see why some people would become Sith right away, because they kind of have to in order to be attractive to the opposite based on hypergamy, right? So just think about it. Like, to the people that like to be upright and to be like Jedi side, or upright and strong, you kind of have to like both. You can understand why some people go down the dark path, right? It's not confusing to see why they might do that. It's actually obvious to see why they would, because they have to account for their lack of maybe physical attributes, maybe other things. Maybe they're not good communicators. Maybe they're not good looking. So they have to provision more in order to be able to be competitive in the market, to find a wife and all that stuff. So you can see, so you can understand why some people become slanted. I just want to put it out there that it's not good for society as a whole, and it's not good. It's not. So yeah. Yeah. Justin Caldero says, thoughts on Papa Dave Ramsey, Trev. Is Dave Ramsey a short guy? How tall is Dave Ramsey? Somebody hit me with, how tall is Dave Ramsey? I'm just interested to hear, because he looks kind of short to me. Which it's always interesting to see. Like I always want to like break people down just to understand their motivations and stuff, right? Like, like where did this come from? Why did he start? See, he's an entrepreneur, right? Dave Ramsey is an entrepreneur. He uses the church grift really well to increase income. I can see what he's doing a mile away. I'm like, oh, he's smart. He uses the Bible Belt, the Bible Thumper. Let's call it white magic, right? The Bible Thumper grift, in order to like give financial advice, right? He'll even quote the Bible. He'll say like, I'm like, oh shit, this guy's really good. He'll quote the Bible. He'll say like, what does he say? The debtor is slave to the lender. That's one of the things that he says from the Bible. I believe it is. I think I've heard him say that in talks before. So, but I think Dave Ramsey's great, right? I think he's awesome because, again, he is giving you hard knocks, genuine, good guy, Jedi type advice for how you can succeed, frugality, all that stuff. He may not be a pro, very useful to know, because it's good to know the psyche, the mind of men and the mind of women, how they differ, how they select, and how they see things, because they're not at all the same. A lot of the social engineering people will be like, they're equal and all this. Okay, whatever. What does that even mean? They're not the same. They have different qualities. They select differently. They look for different things in their lives. They have different objectives in their lives for what they're looking to do. How tall is Dave Ramsey? Anybody? We got one on Joe Rogan. Used the steroids, lost his height. I don't think he ever had it. I think he's short. Well, that's next. That's what I said about the Tates. Next is that it's, if there's an interview you can watch with Stefan Molyneux and Tristan Tate about the business that they were running, how they did it, what they did, and it's not good stuff. It's not. Now, in terms of legal, innocent until proven guilty, right? Innocent until proven guilty. We don't, that's got to be sorted out, whatever they are. But legal doesn't mean ethical. Essentially what they were doing is they did basically a website, which was like a webcam site where they would have girls. Now, there's some question about what's called lover boying, which I didn't know what this was before. I've never heard of this before because I don't look into this kind of stuff. But apparently, some of what's, and again, we have to legally, not get involved, but legally, there's, they'll sort this out, right? Whatever it is, lawyers and in fairness and all that. Okay, fair enough. But apparently, it's called lover boying, where what they do, it's like catfishing. If you ever heard the term catfishing. And what it is lover boying is where they'll be like a high status male. It involves an understanding of hypergamy, an advanced understanding of hypergamy. They know it's not that complicated. Women are actually not that complicated. In terms of their unconscious and underneath their ego, it's actually pretty easy to figure out what they're actually looking for. They're funny because they're a mystery to themselves, but they're actually not a mystery to guys who have studied it. There's a lot of guys that have really cracked the unconscious of women for what they select for, what they look for. Now, what they were doing is called lover boying. It sounds like, and I believe Tristan Tate has actually said that this is what they were doing. They would date girls, okay, and do online, find someone online and do dating and stuff like this, and then they would bring them in, and they would have them work for them on web camera and sort of be in a relationship with them, but sort of not. And then they would get into relationships with like lots of different of these, usually younger girls, right? Of age, though, usually of age, okay, of age, but still not like 40 or something, or 35 or older, like early 20s, something like this. So they would do, so this is what's being processed anyway. I'm not saying they did do it or they didn't necessarily, but I think they've pretty much said in videos that that's what they did. So they would do this lover boy thing, and they would bring in young women. They would get them to work for them. They'd be in a quasi relationship with them, but they would only be in a relationship with them, it sounds like to me, in order to leverage them, to use them to work for them. And then they would get them going online. They would have a website, which maybe they still do, I don't know. And they would have them chat with these women, and they would pretend, they would take their keyboards so that the guys who were on were not actually talking with them. They were actually talking with one of them, like the guys or another girl who was just like answering all these different questions. And they would just have them there as like just visual. And then they would get these guys to think they're in a relationship with these people via online. It's like catfishing, but again, for a male version, they call it loverboying. And then they would use it to extract resources, maybe ask for money, maybe see like, oh, you can have a phone number, but it's going to cost you $500. And these guys from the States mostly, or other places too, developed world, some of these sad guys would pay this money for this illusion of attention from a woman that's not genuine. It's not legitimate. So there's legal questions involved with this. Is this legal to do? There are people, I think some of them said that there was guys who would mortgage their houses, sell their houses, and give it to for what? I don't know. We can't say, but you guys can fill in the blanks with what this could be, right? And would give it to them, and then they would, for the illusion of some kind of thing going on here. So this is like OnlyFans, but it's to a much more extreme example. So this is not good, guys. This type of behavior is not good. I don't advise any of you guys to even consider or think about this kind of stuff. It's not good. It's not something that young men should be looking to as an example for what success looks like. That's not what real success looks like. Real success looks like doing it the right way over time, starting small businesses, maybe raising a family, having a family, doing that. That's what real masculinity in my mind means. This other stuff over here is not masculine. If you're in a relationship with somebody, that's not masculinity to them, take them and use them as leverage, to put them out there and have artificial relationships with guys to extract resources from them. That's actually the opposite of real masculinity. That's femininity. That's some kind of crazy, feminine-minded type of, behavior. It's not good stuff, guys. It's really, really not good stuff. So we have fun with some stuff. I might make fun of the accent or have fun with that, or I might agree with a lot of the things they say in the men's community or mgtow or stuff like that. But I want to be clear that I do not support those type of businesses and those type of activities. That's a darker world that I don't advise anybody to be, to get involved in. Just do it the right way. You won't make as much money, but, I would say my advice, especially to the younger guys, do a legitimate business. If you're going to start a business with a service, make sure you got great service. Make sure you got a great value there for people. They're happy. They're telling other people about them, and that's the way to grow a business is great service, great product. They're telling others about it. They are word of mouth, spreading it for you. It's growing on its own. That's a way to do it. And you're not hiring people to then take advantage of them. You're paying them an honest wage. You're running an honest business, and everybody's benefiting. Not where you're mixing. You got to be careful about mixing personal life and relationships with business, right? And not one where you're looking for ways to extract large resources from people for an illusion of some kind of relationship. This is not good. This is like Breaking Bad. There you go, right there. We got, who said that one? Absent baby daddy, right? It's like Breaking Bad type stuff. It's fun to watch on TV in a program, guys, But please don't do this kind of stuff in real life. Please don't. For you, for your for your family's sake, for your parents, for maybe your kids if you have them, please don't do this kind of stuff. You know, it's not good, man. Please live in a way that's upright and strong, righteous, and doing the right thing. Please do that for the rest of us, for the rest of us in society, you know. So please don't be a menace to society. Yeah. Okay, what else did you guys say? What are your thoughts on young men joining the military? U.S. recruiting numbers are very low, and it's getting worse. The country is more desperate for recruits now than ever. Well, they kind of did it to themselves, right, Private RLS? They sort of encouraged too much femininity, and now you don't have any guys wanting to join the military. So, you know, sometimes, you know, like sometimes I look at, you know, some of these higher level, you know, social scientists and behavioral scientists and people, and I think, like, sometimes I think they're evil geniuses, and then sometimes I think they're retarded because they do stuff like, did you think about, you know, before you promo that everywhere, did you think about that first? Like what effects that was going to, did you think about all the effects that was going to have? And again, like I'm saying, sometimes I think they're geniuses and sometimes I think they're brain dead because it's like, you know, do you want America to be feminine? Isn't that your ass kicking division, right? Like, don't you want them to be masculine dudes where they're ready to, you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin in the 90s, the glass shatters, he comes out, all the dudes are like, yeah, Stone Cold, so he's gonna get the stunner, boom, he's got the stunner, oh man, I want to be like Stone Cold. Isn't that what you want if you want dudes for military? Don't you want G.I. Joe cartoons running and all that stuff if you're gonna do that? You know, I don't know. Sometimes I just think like I don't know, but you know, definitely defense is a service, right? It's a legitimate service. If you're defending your country and you know you believe in it, everything like that, I think that's great. You're protecting people, that's great. You're doing it in an honest way, that's great. Even like if you're a police officer, which is sort of like military but local community military, they're just soldiers, like local soldiers is basically what police actually are, pretty much. But you're doing it in an honest way where, you know, maybe you're giving tickets to people that are driving recklessly, but you're not pulling people over that are driving over the speed limit and getting them a ticket just for your quota, right? So there's, again, honest way to do it, dishonest way to do it, and yeah. So that's what we got for that. Jeffrey Lane, Jeff food, etc. is better than toys when things get bad. My voice is gone. One sec. Yeah, but I know what you mean, Private RLS, that a lot of people now after the lockdowns are not looking to do hard physical labor, like construction too, and things like that, you know. But that should have been expected. When you feminize the culture, you're going to get less badass dudes that are going to be building houses and are going to be joining military. That should be an expectation going in ahead of time that you would expect. It's like marijuana being legal, drugs being legal. Okay, so you drug Canada, you make weed legal. All right, but what other effects does it have? It means everybody starts getting lazy. You know, they don't work as much. They don't produce as much, right? That's another. Everything has, you know, you take something. There's side effects. There's different effects of everything that's done. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Yep. Spike 43 said men bully physically. Women bully with words. Yeah, it's interesting. If you watch their responses too to how they bully each other with words and how they react like it's the worst thing ever, it's really interesting. You watch women bully each other with words and reputation assassination, and they're like, oh my God, they're terrified of their reputation being hurt. It's very interesting compared to men or whatever. I don't give a shit, right? Like, I'm going to kick his ass or something. It's like, what do you say about me? Oh, good comeback, slap, right? Whatever. They start, okay, that's like a girl fight, but they start, going at it with each other, right? But women, it's like reputation monitoring, absolutely, 100%. Yep, they target the vulnerable, says Jeff F. here. Owen Malloy says, this is the electric company You are late on your payment. We'll be turning off your power unless payment is made immediately. Nice. Okay, let's see. Yeah. All right. So I think we went. Did I skip? Okay. I went through a good number of these here. Yeah. Well, I'm not looking to get into a versus Spike 43 or anything like that. I'm not a censorship guy. I don't agree with censoring anybody. Everybody can have, their opinion and contribute to the public square. I think that's a good thing. But I also don't, the snake oil sales is tricky, right? Snake oil salesman is basically what it comes down to, right? And it's like, I know it's easier to make. You're going to make more money selling snake oil. I get that. I understand that. But I just think please do it the right. Please don't. Sell vitamin C, and vitamin D to people. Please do that. Please don't sell them snake oil. Go up. You want to do something. Okay. Go and sell them vitamin C, vitamin D, protein, good. Please sell them that. Please don't sell them snake oil. You see what I'm saying? There's a simple difference, right? Simple stuff, right? Is what it is. All right. So Eric Moore says, I could not in good confidence tell anyone something like that. I used to work at a call center and was told to tell people certain things that I didn't agree with. I went against the grain. Yeah, and what do you see in terms of promotions and stuff, Eric? You're probably not, if you're honest and hardworking, you're probably not going to get, that leg up that the Sith type people, the dishonest people are going to get. But respect to you, man, for doing the right thing, even though it doesn't necessarily, pay dividends right away, right? Like just doing the right thing for the right thing's sake. That's what it's all about. Absolutely, yeah. Well, Brian Danielson, Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, you'll have some coming up soon. But, this stuff it might not be as fun to discuss as the entertainment, which we love to do, and it's a lot of fun. But it is important that we bring up these topics out there, and we at least put a little bit of it out there, at least a little bit. Because, the other way that things can go is, it's not good, man. It's not good. And if that's all that people see, if the market is flooded with snake oil, then it doesn't create, a good system for the next generation, for people that are here now. It's not good, So absolutely, yeah. So let's see. What else did you guys say here? Yeah. Yeah. Trades. Owen Malloy's got a good one. Going into skilled trades. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Owen's got it here. I agree 100%. Getting a trade. If you want to go higher level education like university, all that stuff, master's, PhD stuff, whatever, that's fine, but there's only a few positions for those. Skilled trades and stuff that you can sell easily are extremely useful in the market, guys. Very, very useful. And again, a lot of it's like maybe, labor intensive building stuff, carpentry, woodwork, mechanic, plumber, electrician, all that stuff. That stuff's fantastic, man. You can make good money. A couple years, you go to college for 2 years, then you go in, you pick a trade, you go into that. That's awesome. Then maybe you work to start your own plumbing service or your own thing. You build a clientele base. That's fantastic, dude. It's really, really great. And a lot of plumbers and stuff will bill like $80 an hour, $100 an hour, $50 an hour, like good amount of money. They can make really good money. The work is there. The hours are there. That's awesome. Not everybody can be, can work in like at the universities or women's studies and these things like this. Is like, there's only, I don't know. Get something, get a trade that you can sell, get something that you can do that people need. That will always work, no matter what happens in society, no matter what happens in the world. If you have a trade for something that's essential, that's always going to be, awesome in terms of independence, in terms of what you can offer to the market versus something that's just theoretical or something. which is respectable too if you finish, degrees or whatever. But you gotta. Ultimately, we all have to serve the market. So that's what it comes down to. Yeah, it's a great way to gain wealth. I know the stats on this one. 70% almost of millionaires are self-employed. Did you know that? Almost 70% of millionaires, of people who are millionaires, are self-employed. And only about 7% of the population is self-employed. So self-employed people are overrepresented by a factor of 10 times in percentage versus the percentage of society that is self-employed and the percentage of people that become millionaires in their lifetime. They are overrepresented by a multiple of 10 times. So if you want to become a millionaire in your lifetime, one of the best ways to do it is find a way to start your own business, become self-employed. It's one of the best ways to become a millionaire. And then I would only add to that, please try to do it in an ethical manner and not gouge people and not screw people so that you can become a millionaire that way. But in reality, you'll probably be a millionaire when you're in your late 40s, 50s, 60s. You probably won't be a millionaire in your 20s, 30s, whatever. Unless you take big swings, big risks, and you could crash and burn too. Crypto would be an example. Maybe you could become a millionaire with crypto if you put everything into crypto. But maybe crypto goes to zero and you lose it all, right? So diversity as well is important. Diversify your investments, diversify your portfolio, and that way you don't, take a risk that you can't afford to lose and it goes sideways, it goes bad and you lose everything. But yeah, most millionaires are self-employed by a factor of 10 times. They're overrepresentation of 10 times, 10x. And there's obvious reasons to why that is. So climbing the corporate ladder can work too, but if you want to be very successful, you kind of have to start your own business. That's true, so that you can be in that disproportionate percentage. But it also will take a lifetime. And you also, another trick to being a millionaire is one wife, guys, one relationship, not divorce, because divorce destroys wealth typically. If you get divorced, it really screws things up. You pick the right woman. There's a lot of factors that have to go right for you to get into the millionaire category. And usually it's when you're in your 60s or 50s or whatever. That's usually how it goes. Yeah. And that's not everything either, because some people don't do it the right way. So that's not respectable anyway if they scam people to get there. So let's put that out there as well too. Yeah. You got it. So no snake oil, just vitamin C, vitamin D, and hard work. That's it. Yeah, Javier says, the girlfriend Tate was spanking already said, yeah, that's one of them, Javier, but that's not the only one. There's one that's pressing charges against him, who's a different one. That I think she's an American citizen, and I think she said that she was held against her will. So that's different, man. That's totally different. So anyway, innocent until proven guilty. Let's let the authorities handle that. But you can listen to all the interviews if you want to hear about what they did do. They've said it themselves for how they acquired the wealth. And what they did was they basically set up scams where men thought they were communicating with younger women to extract resources and to extract big payments from some of them. Some guys giving up their houses, falling in love with these girls they think they're in relationships with, but really on the other side of the keyboard, it's one of these guys or another girl pretending to be the girl the guy's looking at. So sick shit, man. Really, really sick shit. Not something to be proud of. Not something that's against the matrix. At least unless you mean like fempowerment matrix, sorta, because that's definitely against that. But it's serious. That's serious scamming, dude. Serious scamming. That's not a legitimate, type of business to be running. Yeah, it is. It is, but it isn't just. Yeah, like I joke about him using cam girls, but they weren't just doing that. They were using the cam girls and pretending to be them, taking their keyboards away from them, and pretending that they were talking to these guys and making the guys think that they were the cam girl talking to them. But it wasn't. It was them. asking for money for phone numbers, pretending to be in relationships to ask for payment. That's completely different than just OnlyFans stuff. That's completely different. Where you have guys mortgaging their houses because they're paying it to think that they're maybe they fly there and spend a day with them or something. You kind of know how this can go. But again, mortgaging their houses to give to these girls that they think that they have some kind of relationship with, but really it's one of them talking on the keyboard to them. This is sick. That's sick shit, man. That's not cool, dude. Like, that's not right, because there's a lot of lonely guys who are low-value guys. What they need to do is they need to watch some of Rich's videos or some of Rolo's videos where they understand they got to go to the gym, they got to get fit, they got to fix their effing hair, they got to dye their effing hair, they got to cut it, they got to look good, they got to lose the fat, increase their value themselves, lift weights, maybe, earn more income, whatever, and then find another real spouse with a real relationship with somebody in real life themselves. Not give it to some girl who doesn't speak English, who some guy is pretending to be on a keyboard a world away in Romania or some shit. That is not cool, man. As far as I'm concerned, that's not right, man. Because a lot of these guys, maybe their wives left them, maybe they got divorced, they're a divorcee, they've been through the divorce machine, and now you're pretending like you're this person and this young girl who's talking to them, giving them attention, they think, on the other side of the web camera. And, again, it's an offer, it's free will for the person to say, oh, well, I'll open up, my wallet and give it to this person. But really, they're not even giving, these poor saps are not even giving it to this girl they think, who doesn't even know who they are because they've never even talked to them. But they think they're talking to them, except the keyboard's plugged in on the other side of the computer to somebody else who's pretending to be that person. That's not good stuff, man. I mean, that's not right. It's like the 80-year-old that gets scammed, with their computer. It's a similar type of scam, but it's taking advantage of guys who are the sucker, who maybe are low-value guys. Maybe they're short, maybe they're fat, maybe they're balding, and they don't understand women to understand how to be attractive to women for real. Like, how do you actually be attractive to women yourself? How do you improve yourself so that women will actually like you? You can't change your height, really. You can wear, boots or something, or risers, okay? You can work out in the gym. You can do that. You can start a business. You can become more masculine that way by, increasing your income and doing stuff like that. Okay, fine. But, taking advantage of them in this way is it's not good. It's not good stuff. I know the cars are cool. I know the houses are cool, guys, but that could be your dad, that could be your grandpa, that could be maybe your parents get divorced and your dad goes off and your mom takes the house and he doesn't have much, but he goes to the bank and signs a thing, to get a big loan to give it to this girl who he thinks maybe he's conversing with, who's over there, but it's not even her. It's actually these guys that are running this thing where they think they're talking to her, but they're not. Come on, guys. This is not good stuff. I understand celebrity. I understand star power. But, guys, come on. This is not good stuff, guys. Come on. You know better you guys know better than this. Do not worship these type of people. You know what they are. We all know what they are. Whether it's legal is not the question. You got to let them decide that. It's a question of you yourself. Do you think that's ethical to run that kind of business? Do you think that that's a right thing to do for society? Do you think that brings the world into a better direction, or does it take advantage of people in a bad state? Fair enough, they're the sucker, I get it. But what happens after? They're going to be looking for a ledge, because now not only are they kind of, and again, this is buying into their victim, but this is actually creating real victims, because a lot of guys, they just, you're telling them what they want to believe, so it's like the Q-tards, right? These F and Q morons. You're telling them what they want to hear. They're buying into it. You're taking advantage of their mind. You're hacking their mind. You're hacking the girls' minds by making them think that you care about them and doing all this stuff. And what are you doing? You're just hacking them to extract resources for yourself. This is selfish. predatory behavior to a max. And I'm not white knighting the girls. There are, like I said before, toxic femininity with women that do the exact same thing, to look for a sucker husband, to divorce his ass a year later and take their house and take their stuff, right? End up in divorce court. They go with them. They coax them into getting married just to get married, to then extract the resources through a divorce court. Okay, so men can do it, women can do it too. It's not necessarily a gender thing. It's a right and a wrong thing. It's doing business the right way, marrying someone because you genuinely love them, right? Being with someone because you want to have a family with them. You really care about them. You really love them. Or pretending to like somebody so they will marry you so you can divorce. I had a friend, man. His dad was one of these guys where he got divorced. He had a family, a few kids. He got divorced. And then later he found another love, so he thought, another woman that he thought loved him. He got married to her, and sure as shit, 2 years later, not even 5, 10, 20 years later, 2 years later, they got married, no prenup, no agreement. 2 years later, she divorces his ass. She takes the house. He's living in a shack, except he was making six figures. This guy was making six figures in the 90s. He ended up in an effing shack because he couldn't control his cock. That's what it was. He couldn't control his dick. He married too quick without any protection to a woman who really just was in it to, just divorce him a couple years later and extract the house, take it from him, right? So men can do this, women can do this too, all right? But it's not good. Protect yourselves. It goes for the guys to protect yourselves, and the women protect yourselves too. Be very careful with these lover boy guys, whatever this crap is. This is a new one for me. Catfishing, lover boy stuff of whatever, and then you find out he's got 6 girlfriends or 10 girlfriends or something, and they're all working for him, and he's got this thing. Guys, come on. You give me shit, but come on. I want to say that I'm a truther of some kind. Okay, I got to stand up high in self-righteousness myself and say what is obviously true. You know it. You know it's not right. You know it. Come on, guys. You know. We all know. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Come on. You know. Don't give me shit. I don't want these comments that I've been getting this weekend and this week of, oh, you're just jealous because what I could buy a nice sports car and get a nice garage, have a few cars, waste all my money on I don't know. Buy a Lambo, buy a Ferrari, and something else. I could do it in cash. I could take out my investments and I could say, let's just build a few car garage and let's buy some sports cars and waste all our money like that. Is that really a masculine thing to do? Just to go into hyper materialism and waste investments and waste. Is that really just to be showy like that? To try to have some kind of an image and then to entice people in and then parasite off of them running these types of operations. Not good, guys, not good. So there are people that are smart. Hacking the mind is not that hard to do. There are lots of people who know how to hack the mind. There's women who know how to hack the mind of the men to extract resources, and there's men who know how to hack female minds to extract resources. But it's not right. It's not good. It isn't. Let's start 2023 off in a good way. Let's get real. Let's talk real shit right now and say what is right behavior and good behavior and honest behavior and what is parasitism and what is looking for a sucker, and that's what it is. And so, that's what it is. Okay. That's what I got. That's my message. And I'm not bitter towards people in terms of personal. Nothing what I'm saying here is personal. This is for an example for everybody to really protect their mind, protect themselves, and really be careful when you are, when you're getting into relationships with people, when you're going to places that you're not familiar with, you don't know where you are, when you're hanging around, strange people that you're unfamiliar with. Be careful out there, or when you're getting married too, right? We're going to go both ways. We're not white knighting. Okay, the women are not innocent of this either, right? be careful, dudes, both guys and for the gals too. Be careful. And this is going to happen to women too going forward now, because you have a lot of women in the workplace that are doing very well. You're going to get these guys who are coming in as suckers who are going to want to marry you. Maybe later maybe it will flip and you'll see guys going with women. Maybe some of them are bigger or they're less attractive or whatever, going with them just for provisioning and then pretending to be in something so they can have a roof and they can have income. They can be asking their wife for money, right? Like, oh, honey, can I have something for beer or whatever? While they loaf around and go get drunk all the time and their wife is like working to like, the roles have switched. We're going to see this happen too, guys, where the roles will switch and you will have women working, producing, which is like a classical masculine type of role to do, but we'll see this. They're producing, and then you have some of these guys that are looking to gold dig off them, right? And it'll go that way too, where they're going to say that, oh, I'll just go with this girl. Yeah, she's overweight. She's big. I don't like her. She's got a bob. Her hair's ugly colors or something. But I'm going to go with her and pretend to be with her so that I can live with her and she'll buy me beer and she'll buy me whatever stuff I want. And then I'll talk her into getting married and she'll get married. And then if I divorce her, maybe I can see if I can get some. You see, this can go either way. And it's not good stuff. And it's not something to be worshipped in the culture. And it's not something for it to be encouraged to you younger guys. All right, this is serious stuff. This is very serious stuff here, right? So yeah, absolutely, yeah, ethics. So it's up to you each. So let's go into Rick Sanchez Jr.'s comment right here. Okay, Rick, I appreciate your comment. So Rick Sanchez Jr. just said, good behavior and ethics is what will keep you a wage slave for the rest of your life. So this is a point that Rick has made. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Rick says good behavior and ethics will keep you a wage slave for the rest of your life. All right, well, I've gone over earlier in the first hour here of this discussion of how to not be a wage slave with keeping ethics. So if you're going to tell yourself that you cannot get ahead without being slanted, I disagree with you. You can get ahead without being slanted. It's not going to be easy. Is it easier to be slanted in order to get ahead, to be able to leave your job, to be able to do that? Yes, it is. But like I'm saying, it's not good for everybody. It's not good for society. It's not good for anybody to gouge and scam people and do all that stuff, man. It's not good. So anyway, I would much rather punch a clock, okay, and be a wage earner working for a company with ethics and morality as a good person than to be a shark scammer who's just like the FTX stuff. Here's another example. The FTX people who just literally, were looking for suckers. They're into this crypto stuff. Their parents are illegal, what's the girl's name? Sweet Caroline. And what's the guy's name? Bankman-Fried, right? This deal they're running where they're just looking for Tom Brady's and simps to give them, we've got this crypto business, man. We got leverage. We got all this stuff. We got sustainability, whatever, all this stuff. Meanwhile, they're like going on binges and like, going crazy, just roaring, in terms of their life, just partying, taking on all the risk, no problem, all the craziness, and look at what can happen. Sometimes they get away with it, but look at what can happen. You ruin people's lives. You destroy them. And then you say to yourself, well, afterwards, it's a sucker. Too bad, right? Well, it was his choice, right? Okay, fair enough. But does that make it right? I mean, I don't know. Every one of us has to make these decisions for ourselves and decide what's right and wrong for ourselves. I can't force anybody out there to try to be a more honest or try to be a more decent human being. You're going to have to decide that for yourself. But I do want to say this, that we should not worship this type of behavior. We shouldn't worship, a Bankman-Fried. But look at how much money he made. He made more money than anybody. Yeah, sure he did. Yeah. he had Sweet Caroline. It's crazy stuff, like the nerdiest. She's like a zero. But for him, hey, I mean, you see his hair, you see his bitch tits, you see his stuff. I mean, what? Yeah, okay, I understand. That's how he's gonna do it. Okay, all right, man, all right. But what's the greater impact of what these type of people have on everybody, right? What does it do to the others? What happens? What happens when the risk unfortunately doesn't work out and the liability doesn't work out? Next thing you know, you're bankrupt and your parents lose their house to get you out of jail. What about that, Rick Sanchez Jr.? What about if you do something and you get caught and then you're in jail, right? Maybe in an international jail somewhere for something you did, and now your parents are going to sell their house that they worked their whole life for to bail you out for your decisions. I mean, it's funny stuff like we see on the internet. We laugh about it. But how do you think your dad or your mom's going to feel? What's your mom going to feel like if you get caught doing some of this kind of stuff with crypto or whatever? How is your mom going to feel when she has to choose between selling her house to get her baby boy out of what's essentially, let's call it what it is, jail, right? A rape camp, essentially is what this is, right? We all know what it is. I'd say do it the right way, guys, because it's not even just you that these kind of activities can impact. Your family, the people who care about you, right? It's not good stuff, guys. Not good stuff. Yeah, you don't want your mom to have to be thinking if she, honey, so-and-so is in trouble. We need to raise this much money. His bail is, I don't know, $500,000. How much is our house worth, honey? Oh, sweetheart, you are not selling our house to bail out that delinquent. No, you're not. If he got in trouble, but honey, you know where he is. He's not safe, right? I can play both roles. Honey, what do we do? He's got caught. He's in jail. What do we do? I can't have my baby. Oh my God. Here come the tears, right? You know how this goes. What does the dad say? I'm not giving up my house. I worked my whole life for my house. I'm not selling my house. I just paid it off. I just made the last payments. I'm not selling my house. One decision, guys. Do it the right way or you do it the wrong way. Which one? Which one are you going to do? I know it doesn't pay as much if you get away with it. Which one are you going to do? What choice are you going to make in your life? Right? What's going to happen? Because you have to consider the possibility that you do something slanted, you get caught, and then your parents have to decide. The fight comes between your parents if they have to decide if they're going to sell their house, your parents' life's work, to bail your delinquent ass out of jail for what you did, right? So that's what I'm saying, dudes. If you're going to start a business, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, please do it the right way. Please start a crypto service where you are not taking leverage at all. Why do you need leverage? Oh, because then I get all this more and we can do 10x times what we do. Do 1x and don't take unnecessary leverage, with your client's money or whatever FTX was doing that ended up not working out, and this stuff happens. So that's my message for you guys. Do it the right way. You will not just affect yourself, but you can affect your loved ones. You can affect your parents, your siblings, your spouse. You can bring in, a lot of guys will wrap up girls in these situations, right? Like wives and girlfriends. They'll bring them into these situations. And what happens? Sometimes the girl will get in with the wrong guy and they'll get caught and she'll end up in jail too. And why? Did she even really know what was going on? All she knew was she loved this guy. He was alpha to her. She trusted him. And then he brought her into FTX or some crazy shit. And next thing you know, she could be in trouble too. Come on, guys. You know. I know times have been a little bit tough, but being slant, that cannot be the answer. That cannot be the answer to just say, well, the whole system's rigged, so I might as well just be a con artist or whatever. I might as well just do whatever. Someone would do it to me, I might as well do it to them, right? And just become like that. Please consider those around you. Please consider your customer. Please consider your employee. Please consider risk. Please consider liabilities. Please be careful, guys. That's my message to you. Please be careful. Do things the right way. Start a business the right way. It's 2023. If you want to do something, great time. Go into something that you expect growth in. Make a prediction. Hedge your bets. Diversify. Be careful. And do something with managed risk. Okay, a little bit of risk, but manage it to a comfortable level so you don't just lose your house or your money, but you don't cost your loved ones and dear old mom or dear old dad to get screwed with you. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. All right, so let's put some logic, let's put some truth out there on the internet. Let's put some logic. Let's logic nuke you. I'm going to nuke you. Here's a real nuke. I'm going to nuke you with simple logic that anybody knows, but no one will say for some reason. Simple logic that you taking on these kind of activities and this kind of risk may not just impact yourself and your life, but can also impact your loved ones around you. Okay? Also. And your customers and their loved ones as well. All right? Joel's Journey says, interesting times, Trev. Lots of distractions going on right now. Yeah, a lot of it's distraction type of oriented. Got to keep thick skin. A bloodless revolution is one of ideals. Yeah, and that's what it is. And really, this is what, like, you talk about 2020, 2030 and how things are going here. Is this not the real truth of the whole thing? None of what some of the people that are slanted and how they want to take the world, none of that can work if the people stand upright. If the people stand upright and strong, none of that can work. Isn't that true? Isn't that true that if every single one of you out there and us, every single one of the people decide to be moral, to not compromise, and to not be bought off, that none of what may be happening and could happen in the future will happen? Couldn't we stop almost just about everything if we could be upright and strong and not compromise and not sell out? Couldn't that be the case if everybody was willing to do that? If everybody was willing to do that, couldn't that stop the whole thing in its tracks for whatever goals and whatever people are hawking at you and they're trying to get you to do, right? If you have a checker in your mind which asks yourself first, is it right or wrong for me to do this? And if you choose to do the right thing, which doesn't F over the other people who are around you, couldn't that stop wouldn't that put the whole train that's running, that nothing stops this train, couldn't real morality and real uprightness just, Superman punch the bottom of that train right off the tracks? Couldn't it? Couldn't it knock it right off right away? If everybody decided, one decision, to live their life in a way where they do things the right way rather than the slanted way and just take the money, right? And then be bought off because of, so-and-so person wants to do this thing or something, and so they hire and these people come in and they do it. What if everybody decided that they were not going to be bought off? It's a dream. It's being idealistic. It's not going to happen. I'm aware of that. But it doesn't mean you have to partake. If the world goes to hell going forward, it doesn't mean that you have to be one of the ones who helped it get there. You could be one of the ones who said, I don't think so. No, not me. No, I'm not going to do it. Oh, well, we'll just hire someone else to do this nefarious thing that's going to shut down farms or do whatever. We'll just hire them to do it. Okay, fair enough, but not me. Not going to happen, If enough people did that, it would be stalled right away. It would run off the tracks right away. So, but see, that's what I said earlier in the chat there, Rick Sanchez. That's what it is. That's the Sith response. I preempted you by saying this earlier. It's, well, if I don't do it, someone else will, right? Or someone did it to me, so it's okay for me to now go and do it to others. It's just how the world is. Did I not say that? Look back at this. We're 2 hours and a half into this. look back in the first half an hour. One of the first things I said, which is the slanted response, is, well, someone would do it to me. You would do it if you were offered the money to screw somebody or whatever. You would do it, right? Somebody would do it to me, so whatever. Somebody did do it to me, so that's just how the world is, man. That's just how it is. It doesn't have to be how it is, but okay, that's just how it is. All right, that's what it is, man. It's just, well, this is what it is, right? It'd be a miracle if people grew a spine, grew a backbone, and tried to do things the right way. I guess that's true. And yeah, you'd have to work overtime. You'd have to work extra hard. You probably wouldn't be able to get all the cool stuff right away. Sure, fair enough. Very, very true. Each person has to decide for themselves. The point is that if you do things in an unethical way and a slanted way, you can hit rock bottom. Basically, you can end up in a cell. That's the point. So that's not good. Anyway, it's up to you. You have to decide for yourself, not me. I can't live your life for you or anything else, or force you to do anything you don't want to do. And people are going to have to decide probably, in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. The people are going to have to make a decision with respect to the changes that are going to be happening going forward. People are going to have to choose if they're going to do the right thing for their neighbor, the right thing for their community, or the wrong thing for their community. Are they going to shut their farm down? Are they going to take the money to be bought out? Are they going to do that? Or are they going to stand upright and say no and run it anyway? What's going to happen? Don't know. We'll see. Probably be a mix of some going the one way, some going the other way. That's just what it is. Yep, Neurojack nailed it. Exactly, dude. Society is falling apart because too many people only think selfishly. Yeah, they don't think about the future of their own family and the kids and their neighbors and everybody else too, right? It's get it while it's good for me and get for myself. Egocentrism, egocentonic. Get what's good for me and forget everybody else, right? A race to the bottom. It's just get what you can get, man. Vicious, predatory. Get it, man. Get what you can get. Well, if you take it from somebody else, oh well. If I got 8, things of oatmeal and food's running out, well, it's just how it is. I'm going to get the 9th one rather than give it to somebody who is pretty low on food, right? Maybe somebody doesn't have any. I'm going to take it from me. I'll have 9. I'm going to give them 1, right? Or maybe 8, and you give them 1. Volker Almighty says, worst year of my life. Can't wait for this one. Yeah, I hear you, Volker. Absolutely. Try your best to keep your head up. For all of you guys out there, maybe one thing I could sell you on, if I'm going to sell you something, is I could sell you morality. How about that? I could sell you the Elking. I could sell you morality. What about if you have pride in yourself that you are a good person? How about that? Maybe you don't have all the fancy shit. Maybe you don't have all the cash. You don't have all the money. But what about if you could know that you are a good person? How about that? Could we do that? I could probably sell you that. And I think that's a good thing to work towards. Yeah, absolutely. But I understand, it's probably going to be difficult to save money going forward with inflation and to do that. But this video, I've given you some things that I would consider to be down-to-earth, practical answers to, and not easy ones, but practical answers to what you can do in your own life to better your life and your family and do it in an honest way. And like I said, the first thing is, increasing work time if you can, if you're available. If you got kids and stuff, a few kids, 4 kids, okay, I understand you can't, but that's okay too. Just be the best father you can be for the kids that you have and do the stuff that you're doing. So, yeah, absolutely. All right. What else did you guys say here? Eric Moore, I've seen that firsthand. I made sure to point it out to her. Probably something responds to what we said earlier. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and Malloy says, I'll never get married again. I make 6, haven't tried dating at all, not interested. But you already have your kids, right? Oh, so you don't really you've got 3 kids, dating for you, getting remarried again for you is like you've already got 3 kids. So, your situation is like you don't really, just be the best father you can for your 3 kids. That's what you do. Yeah. Better Call Huxler says it right. He says that Andrew Tate is a genius for preying on insecure men and profiting off of them. Most reasonable people know it's a scam, and the people paying for it are so toxic anyways that I don't have sympathy. Yeah. Well, I think that I understand what you mean. It's like, the sucker is the sucker, and, they should have known better. You can always say, well, they should have, it's their choice. They should have known better. Yeah, I know. But we all, sometimes throughout our lives, we all fall down sometimes, guys. And sometimes it's just nice to have somebody to reach out and help pick you up. Not somebody who is going to pretend to reach up and pick you up. You're going to go reach for the hand, and they're going to go, psych, and then you fall down even further, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's maybe it's just, too altruistic for me and others to consider that people would do the right thing just for the right thing's sake. Like as if that's a revolutionary idea, to just do the right thing for each other for the right thing's sake. Maybe that's too crazy. Maybe that's too off the wall of an older idea to just do the right thing for the right thing's sake. I don't know. Maybe today that's too foreign for people to even consider to be be cynical of, I guess. All right. So Christopher says social engineering exists one way or another. Yeah, it does. Whether it works or it doesn't. Absolutely, that's the case. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. I'm just looking through your guys' comments, seeing if we got anything else here. Yeah. Agree with most of these. So we'll wrap up soon here, guys. We're at 2.5 hours, but I think it was good. I think it was a good stream. I want to put it out there for you guys, because I don't want you to feel like there's no answers. I don't want you to feel like there's no, like it's just set and there's no way to, to achieve anymore, or to stretch, or to, reach for achievement, or to want to do better, or to want to do more without resorting to Sith-type behavior. There are good ways to do things, but yeah, it will be hard. It will be hard work. It will be overtime probably. There might be a little bit of risk involved, but good risk, legal, healthy risk, and that's what that is. So yeah. Well, everybody has to make these decisions for themselves, Rick. That's up to you. I already touched on earlier about toxic femininity in terms of digging and stuff like that too. So I'm not absolving the exact same behavior from the other gender as well. I gave some examples earlier of exactly what that looks like and why dudes absolutely got to protect themselves. Don't be a sucker either. She tells you she loves you, whatever. She wants to get married. Don't be a sucker yourself either. Protect yourself legally. Protect yourself and your assets from the divorce machine too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't be a sucker to anybody, man, woman, or somewhere in the middle, right? Whatever gender, identity, however, whatever number we're up to now, depending on where you live, whatever it is. Thanks, Private Rills. I appreciate it. Absolutely. And I'm not saying 100% to be a moralist either, and to always, like to not do something because maybe it's in the middle or something. I'm not saying that either. I think that we all kind of know when something is like okay, when it's questionable, and when it's absolutely wrong, And again, I'm not against people if they want to run that kind of business, like a webcam, or a crypto business or something like that. I'm just saying that we all know kind of, on the scale where it is, right? Maybe you run a OnlyFans or a thing, but nobody's getting hurt. People are donating what they want. They're just giving it to you. Fair enough. And there's no expectations that you're going to marry them or something. There's no expectations that they're like talking to you, but they're really talking to some guy. None of this stuff, that's up to you in terms of, that type of business, if you would even want to start that type of business or not. I probably wouldn't anyway, but if you do, I'm not going to fault you for it. I'm just saying that do it in a way that, you're not hurting people, either your customers or your employees. Nobody mortgaging their houses to give it to you when they think they're giving it to some girl that doesn't know who they are, that they think they've been talking to for 6 months or something, in some kind of a catfish or lover boy scam or something. Yeah. All right. I'll give you guys opportunity here. That's what I got for tonight. That's why. Happy New Year to everybody. Give you guys a chance here. You want to ask any questions or anything you've been thinking of, feel free to send through. It can be Walking Dead, can be show related, Last of Us, whatever stuff we're going to do going forward for this year. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a great year and everything. We're going to have fun. And I understand that in terms of numbers, right now is a tough time for everybody. The last couple of years, for me too, me included. Last year, the markets went down. S&P 500 is like 20% off its high. So it's way down, which is tremendous amount. It puts us in a bear market basically for the start of this year. Pretty much means that, I'm thinking like myself, did I make any money this year considering the S&P went down 20, Bitcoin went down that much? I probably am at zero pretty much for the year. Pretty much just make back, working the whole year, I just make back what the markets went down by pretty much. So no, I didn't. So I had a bad year too this year, guys, in terms of markets, but everybody, I think pretty much everybody did. If you had any crypto, you did bad. If you had stocks, you probably did bad this year. If you had bonds, you did bad. Shit, unless you're a real estate guy, you probably did bad. Even the real estate guys, I think, are, I don't know, they're kind of whining, but I still think they're doing pretty good, to be honest. So, yep. What do I think of The Last of Us casting, Project Nerdvana? I think it's awesome. I think that the choices they made, Game of Thrones OGs, HBO, it's going to be awesome, dude. A lot of people are going to want to see it. A lot of the Star Wars guys like Mandalorian, so Last of Us should do very well. You get some crossover appeal. You got the Walking Dead vibe, and the Walking Dead just ended. It's a good time to do Last of Us. I think it's going to work, and I think it's going to be great. Absolutely. I saw a lot of the streaming services are getting crushed this year, like Netflix, Disney, a lot of the others. They didn't do well in 2022. Lost a lot of money, a lot of the woke stuff, and they're trying to push all this, all this stuff on everybody, and the representation is like all completely screwed. I don't know what they're trying to do, but whatever it is, it's not working. They're losing a lot of money, so they kind of have to stop doing that if they unless they don't care about making money and they just want to engineer or whatever. So yeah. Favorite zombie movie, Blitz. I saw the other day that Kirkman's favorite zombie movie is Day of the Dead, and I agree with Robert Kirkman. I think Day of the Dead is the best zombie movie ever made. Absolutely. After that, I like 28 Days Later, some of the older ones, and I like lots of zombie movies. You guys know me. I enjoy them all, but Day of the Dead is probably my favorite. Rob Rishel says, real estate did great this year. T-bills are solid 5, but that's less than inflation though, Rob Rizal. So that's a loss. T-bills are, unless it's somehow inflation protected or something, 5% is a loss. It's not a gain because of inflation. It's actually a loss. But yeah, real estate did fairly well this year. Got to account for inflation, but it's hard to go wrong with real estate, man. Like I said, as long as you're protecting yourself if somebody moves in with you, aside from that, insurance and maybe the area, that's about it. It's a pretty safe bet. There aren't a lot of safe bets in life, guys, but real estate is one of the safest bets you can make. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. What else did you guys say? Do I know when the next Walking Dead show is, said Owen? Yeah, I think it's in a couple months. Maybe Dead City in a few months, or Fear the Walking Dead in a couple months. Sometime soon. I don't think they've announced the release date yet, but the Rick and Michonne series is set for Halloween, and so that's wrapping up here pretty soon. Okay, live action Clementine from Gerald. I don't think maybe they will do one eventually. Maybe. Yeah. Rental properties are very good. Roe Rochelle. I was trying to tell the dudes earlier to try to, if they're going to live somewhere longer than 3 or 4 years, to try to buy the place, because you can make a lot of money as a landlord. Absolutely. Landlording is an awesome business. Really, really great business. Worst case scenario, someone doesn't pay and you kick them out. Maybe they trash the place. That's about it. You get insurance and that's it. It's just a bit expensive to get in. They want like 40% down usually. That's all. But it's a great way to go for sure. Dead City April, Rosemary says, yeah, that sounds about right. Something like that. Fear somewhere around there sometime. Yeah. All right. That's what I got for you dudes for today. Rob Russell says one good one. Money isn't everything. Money at all costs is pretty shallow. Yep, I agree. Once you have all you want, then you'll realize there's more to life. I agree. Yeah, that's true. Yep. Yeah, Shents 2D said lots of insecure men out there these days looking for a role model. Yeah, human beings are flawed, right? Like that's the thing about characters in movies and shows and comic books. Comic book characters can be perfect. You know, in comic books you can have Superman, where he's basically like the perfect man. He's the Ubermensch. He's the Superman, and he really doesn't make mistakes. He beats everybody. And won't kill anybody, arrest them, and does all the right things and everything like that. And he can be like a perfect character. But in real life people are flawed. They're not characters, right? So the younger guys are looking for role models. They're looking for answers to how to live in the world right now as the world is, not how as we wish it would be, but as it is. Like I said. Everything we went over in this video, I won't repeat it again, is I think the closest you're going to get to hard knocks, real world advice for how you can still achieve and do well regardless of what's happening. Well, it can work no matter what. So that's what we went over today. Yeah. How long do you see Walking Dead universe lasting? That's from Robichelle. Another couple years probably. Maybe like 2 years, 3 years, something like that. And then maybe a break and maybe other series and stuff after that. But like I said, this year, a lot of entertainment did not do well. Netflix lost tons of money. Disney lost money. Everybody, movies didn't do that well. There's like Top Gun Maverick that did well. There's like, there's a couple of them. Avatar is going to do well. But a lot of them didn't do that well. So that's what it is. Yep. Darth Lucas, the new world's going to need Rick Grimes. I love it. Yeah, so that's again, it's a character that can be sort of perfect in a way, right? In some ways, whereas human beings are often very, very flawed. So very realistic. I agree, Shents. Very realistic. Yeah. Well, thank you, Javier. I send you back an Ubermensch right back to you. You are an Ubermensch as well. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's like the thing with human beings becoming gods and all this stuff and acquiring divine creation and all these things. I mean, I was listening to earlier. I think is it Yuval Noah Harari? He's like this goblin-looking dude, little dude. But he's talking about all this stuff in his speeches, and somehow these speeches are always packed. Everybody's packing the place to hear what he has to say. And basically, what is he hawking? I mean, we already have this. Like in terms of divine creation, women can already create people. They can clone you. That's, to me, it's like, that's the coolest thing, man. You can have a child yourself, right? It's almost like he's projecting something from in himself out. Like people already have that. In terms of, human beings becoming gods and stuff like this, it's like, I think we're already of divine creation to begin with. We can already have families and do all that stuff and do everything which is beautiful and amazing and magical and divine in and of itself already. And, kind of trying to sell something that really, people already are kind of like that in some ways. But as far as godhood, it depends what they mean by godhood. I mean, it's like, because I almost see that as like capitalist overload. Again, the example of a small system of $10 per person, 10 people starting off. I almost think of it as like, somebody acquiring almost all the resources of everybody else in terms of like a capitalistic godhood mindset. That's kind of what I'm thinking is like what these people are sort of playing with these ideas of. But I think people are already kind of divine creation. I think people are already great. I mean, I don't know, they can be anyway. Doesn't mean they are, but they can be, and they can always strive to rise up in terms of illumination, in terms of learning, in terms of knowledge, gnosis, in terms of being a moral, upright person, in terms of being a good member of their community, in terms of helping each other. I mean, all this stuff I think is absolutely great. So, people can already do pretty much all of this. I don't know. It depends how you want to think of it. But yeah, Killer Clowns is your favorite movie there, Sense. Nice. George Carlin, yeah, I love George Carlin's jokes, but he did have the religion man in the sky joke, which I used to love that as like an atheist joke. That's like a classic atheist joke, which is like the man in the sky convince people there is a man in the sky, and he always needs money. And that joke is he's a genius, but my thoughts are the earth is a created system. We were divinely created. We are of providence. We matter. We are important. We're not useless specks of nothing in an infinite atheistic Big Bang universe that's hawked at us and we don't matter. No, we do matter. The things we do matter. Atheism is like a mind weapon. It's like that's what it is. It's a mind weapon that is more real than almost anything else could be. It's a mind program. Atheism is a mind program that yields an output of disaster. That's what it is. It is a mind program that has an impact of catastrophe in terms of the world, in terms of treating others, world wars, all the catastrophes. All of these of the last 100 years or so, the Soviet Union, everything that happened there, the Bolshevik Revolution, all the people that were starved, all these things. This is all atheistic, of atheist creation. All of this is of no providence, atheistic, ego-driven, greed-driven, power-driven, desecration. Nothing could be more real. I'm really not an atheism person. So I like George Carlin, but atheism is just, man, it's really bad. All the worst catastrophes are perpetrated by atheistic systems and atheistic governments under or like the nihilistic mindset, of communism, Nietzscheism, all this garbage that's just like mind garbage to just put people into a state. I mean, think about people who commit suicide, do this stuff. My opinion, these are pretty much all atheists. You could almost say that suicide is almost a byproduct of the mind virus of atheism. The mind virus of atheism gets in people. They start thinking they're monkeys. They start thinking they're not important. And, they got a gun. They're having a tough time. They're going through stuff. And they make a decision that they're going to just pull that trigger. Usually guys. Women, usually social. They social bounce off to get attention with this stuff. And then they come back from the thing. And then they make a big thing about it. They just want attention usually. But the guys will often go through with it. And that's where we really have to guard ourselves and guard ourselves from atheism, because it is just a mind weapon. Maybe we'll do one on mind weapons in the next few weeks or something. We could do that. And we could go through all the details of atheism. But it's just a mind weapon that yields an output of horror, in the world, of absolute horror. So is what can happen when people lose their divine providence, when they lose. That's where people like this, you look at Yuval, which is interesting because his name is Noah, isn't it? Isn't that his middle name? Noah Harari, isn't that his middle name is Noah, which is like the ark, and like where did he get that name from? It's like the ark and everything. It's like, but he's basically selling atheism and godhood. That's what he's selling. He's selling godhood to the capitalists and atheism to everybody else with, technocratic socialism, I suppose. But this, you just know that this is the foundation for disaster, right? When the foundation of atheism is pervasive, you pretty much know that you're set up for a catastrophe in the near future, right? In the short term to long term. You pretty much know that when atheism is pervasive, the next thing to come is usually disaster. Okay, let's wrap on that note, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys liked it. And maybe we'll do one on mind weapons in a couple weeks or something. either that, Last of Us coming up soon. We'll be reviewing that. Thanks for joining. Hope the guys liked it. Hope you guys out there found some value in this. Simple stuff, not that complicated, but that's the real stuff of how it really goes, right? Of how it really works. So, thanks for watching, dudes. Have yourselves a great night. Happy New Year, big time. And come back soon for the some more Walking Dead videos, Last of Us, and possibly a focus. Maybe we'll do a whole stream on atheism as a mind weapon. What are the impacts of this type of mindset on people? What's the impact of this mind weapon of atheism on the population? How does it influence their behavior? How does that mind program affect their decisions? Does it bring them into nihilism? And what can that mean for them? That's it for this one, guys. We'll see you again soon for another. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. Have yourselves